Find us on Facebook, email us at head2headpinball@gmail.com, or go to our website at head2headpinball.com. Welcome everybody to the Head2Head Pinball podcast. This is episode 52, our yearly episode, Ryan. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Yourself?
I'm good. You've just come back from a bit of a trip.
Yeah, I tried to fool everyone into thinking that I was quitting, but you kind of busted that rumor. Thanks, Thanks, Marty.
No worries.
I didn't get any messages saying come back. That's what I wanted. I just wanted to feel loved.
No.
We got Pinburgh coming up, Marty.
Yes.
And we got the Pinburgh current champ with us today for the second time, I guess. We did do a little 10-minute interview with him a couple of months ago. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Colin MacAlpine.
Cheers.
How are you, mate?
I'm doing well. I like that. You said, for the second time. That'll be even better if it were for the second time as a champion.
That's right.
Has anyone ever done it 2 years in a row?
No, Keith Elwin has done very close to that, but he's never successfully done back to back. He's won it multiple times. I forget if it's 3 or 4, but he's never done it back to back.
Okay.
Well,
something to aim for, Colin.
It could happen.
Exactly. Yes, it could. The key word is possible.
So obviously you are the 2017 Pinburgh champion. What else are you known for? What do we know about Colin?
Oh, beyond that, I helped to run the tournament for the Texas Pinball Festival, and we're the proud owner of a Rusak given to me. And I play here in Texas at the different tournaments around here. Texas is a really large state, and so we don't quite get out to the many tournaments and comps outside of Texas. Maybe one out in Oklahoma that we go to, and I've been going to Papa and Pinburgh for a few years. And every once in a while, when I get the chance, with my job, it takes me overseas. And so if it happens to coincide when I have a free weekend on one of my trips, then I'll try to play in a competition, wherever I'm at. So that's been nice too.
I always find that there's with competitions, there's two type of people. Either those people that have been doing competitions and tournaments, for the last 20 years, or there's those people that sort of had the break and then came back into it. Which side are you on there?
I never had a break from competition. I didn't discover competitive pinball until 2011 at a Tron launch party. So it was, somewhat of a break in terms of it was difficult to find pins to play.
Yeah.
Because I didn't own any pins until after I started playing competitively, and I just played them on location. So it got difficult to find pins between when I finished university, and then I started to find some on location. I don't know, maybe around 2006 or so, 2005. And then it really exploded when the Pinballs arcade opened up here in Austin and had a lot on location. And then there's been this great renaissance of pinball. But yeah, I had no idea there was competitive pinball. I wish I would have known a lot earlier in my life
when it was a bit easier and less competitive.
It wasn't meant to be, but no, it's great. It's something I enjoy doing. I've always enjoyed, competing. I've never been much not surprisingly, when somebody sees me, I've never been much of an athlete. So I'm good at competing at things like pinball and board games or billiards or ping pong.
Yeah, for sure. They're all sports. So what's the pinball scene like in Austin?
It's very good. We've got a good, growing base of players. Pinball's arcade opened up in, I think it was 2010, was when they opened up, and they now have 3 locations here in Austin, and I think somewhere in the order of 200 pins across those 3 locations. The only unfortunate part there is that they, I wish they would spend a little bit more time and resources on their techs, because that's a lot of pins, and they don't necessarily have enough techs to keep them all really up to good condition. So, at the main location that I go to every once in a while, it's across the town for me, so it's not super convenient. They have, I think, somewhere between 80 to 90 pins at that location. But I would say, from my perspective, and of course I'm picky as far as pins being in a good playing condition, and I would say maybe they have less than half of that are in good, what I would consider good playing condition. But still, that's 40 pins that are on site in good playing condition. But the problem is you have to know which ones are playing well and which ones aren't.
So what would you define as a good playing pin? For me, and I know I went to locations like the Pinball Hall of Fame, and I've gone to Banning, and I don't necessarily need to have a pristine, clear-coated play field, but I want targets to work, and I want flippers to be strong. What is it for you?
The latter, what you just mentioned. I don't care about the bell of the ball from the pin. I'd rather have a pin that plays 100%, and that you can make all the shots, all the features work. If there happens to be a light out here and there, if it's something that's insignificant, yeah, whatever. But when you have major features that aren't working, or flippers that aren't strong enough to make ramps, or they don't have the flippers adjusted correctly, a whole host of things gone wrong. So the most what I play at most now is downtown Austin, a place called Buffalo Billiards. And that's where we just hosted the Bat City Open for the third straight year there, and it's a nice. It's a billiards hall, primarily as its name, but it's a large bar with foosball tables, dartboards, and they have, I think, up to 16 or maybe they're up to 17 pins now. And the guy that manages that place does a really good job of keeping them up to speed and taking care of them so that they play well. And it's a good location. So. My two sons and I play at that. We haven't played in this past season, but for the quite a few seasons before that, we always played at the weekly league there at Sunday afternoon. So it's nice because I could attend something with my two sons.
Well, I'm looking at your pinball IFBA page now, and you're ranked 15th in the world. You're rated first in the world at the moment. The IFBA only counts, 20 active tournaments. So to get your tournament to count towards your results, you need, I think, 17 points, I think, at the moment, which is a lot.
Yeah.
So where does the motivation come to? Like, will you still attend smaller tournaments that, it's not even possible if you come first to get that many points, or do you only try and attend the larger tournaments now?
No, I'm still playing in the smaller ones. I still play. This past month I played in a league that meets at Pinballs on Tuesdays. I was fortunate. I had a good comeback and was able to come in first on that one. But like you just mentioned, it's actually not even on my. It's not even on my card of 20. Although it's nice. It's waiting there in the wings when one of these one of my previous tournaments drops off. I'll still play them. It's when for the most part, I'll probably play in them if it's something where I'm going to be taking my two sons to go with me. So that way, I really value that as far as trying to, enjoy something with my kids and not just going out and, ditching my kids and ditching my wife and family all the time to go out and do something that I want to do. I was trying to get, like many years ago, like a decade ago, I was trying to get into golf and play golf, and I was never really good at it. And that's probably why I didn't become too passionate about it. But the issue there is you'd go and I'd have to, I'd leave and, in between traveling to the golf course and playing and everything else, you're gone for 5 hours, 6 hours, and doing that on a weekend. So that wasn't, I decided, fairly early on that wasn't a good choice. So, that's why I do that. Now, at the same time, I will say this, especially from a Pinburgh status or Pinburgh, memories. I have a lot of fond memories of some of the earlier Pinburghs that I went to, where it was just the crew here from Austin and me and other people we met there and friends that we made there, hanging out and tailgating out in the parking lot at the old Papa facility, and just enjoying that, without having to have my kids there. So I enjoy that as well. But I also, recognize that there's, certain priorities in life, and, pinball is not my top priority.
So with the local comps that you've got there, and I'm curious to know, like pinballs and also the billiard hall that you're talking about, is it mainly modern machines, or do you find that you get a good mix of old and new?
So Buffalo Billiards, they're all modern. Although we just recently, I purchased a couple of EMs, and then actually 3, and Jesse purchased a few, and so we're in the process of getting those up to speed. But I'm not a good tech. Jesse is, but he's mostly comfortable with modern, so it's a learning process and working on the EM. So I think I've got some parts that we've got ordered for getting an old EM called Jumping Jack up and working, and then we've got about, I think, 4 more that we're trying to get up and operating, so that way we'll have some additional, breadth of variety there at Buffalo Billiards, and so but that's all moderns. The pinballs has a fairly decent variety, especially at the original location. They have a good variety of some early solid states and some late solid states. They have some EMs, and actually a couple good EMs, but they're not necessarily like they have a target pool, which is fun to play, except there's no tilt bob in it, so you can play for quite a while on that. But they have some good variety of some early solid states, which is nice. Like they have one of my favorite early solid states of all time, Genie. They have the original Star Trek. They've got a Meteor, which I also have in my collection, and unfortunately theirs doesn't. They don't have it playing very well because you can't really rip the spinner like you can on mine. And they got a Medusa, and let's see, what are some other early ones? Anyway, but they've got a good breadth of games. The EMs, they've only got 3, and like I said, unfortunately, a lot of times they aren't necessarily functioning fully. Like the Captain Fantastic they have there, unfortunately, the bonus count doesn't work correctly, so it's kind of hard to play that and use that in a comp when you can't rely on the bonus to work.
You've got Steve Bowden moving there now. You've got some good players already, but that should be is he moving close to you? Because I know you said that Texas is a really big state, so is where he's moving in your area?
Yeah, San Antonio is actually not far at all. It's depending on which part of Austin you're talking about, which part of San Antonio. You can get to San Antonio in just over an hour's drive, so it's pretty close. So yeah, I'm looking forward to him coming here. I've already messaged him, and trying to find out when he's going to finally move down here, and so get him at the next monthly tournament that we hold at Buffalo Billiards. We'll call it Fun with Texas or something like that.
Texas with bonus.
Deep rooting in Texas.
Oh, stop it. So what's in your collection now?
So my first pin I bought, I haven't sold any of mine. I've got 5, and I've never sold any. So the first pin I bought was Lord of the Rings, so I just essentially went whole hog right off the bat. I bought one of my favorite pins of all time, and one of my favorite themes of all time, and having Lord of the Rings. And after having that, I realized that because I needed to keep setting it up harder and harder. So, similar to some of the predicament you guys have talked about on your podcast in the past, as far as, getting your pin set up for a comp, or, to keep it, to play so it doesn't play too long. Because Lord of the Rings, similar to like your Star Trek Stern, it can play too long if you don't set it up hard. Well, then it's disheartening for my kids and my wife, who doesn't hardly play pinball at all. So I needed to get another pin. So then I went out and bought a Revenge from Mars, which is a nice, good, funny pin. It's got good humor in it. It's got the mirrored reflection of the CRT, and my wife and kids both still enjoy that one. So I've got that. And then once I got into playing in Pinburgh and discovered how much fun classic pins could be, I started to load up on classics. So then I bought let's see, what did I get first? I got the Grand Prix first. So I have an electromechanical Grand Prix, which is a great rip the spinner game. And then I got a Joker Poker, the solid state version, which is an excellent drop target game. And then last, I picked up the Meteor, which is another great light and rip the spinner game.
Yes, Grand Prix, awesome game.
Yeah, you were almost going to buy one, weren't you, Ryan?
Yeah, well, I did. Yeah, whatever. Fucking stupid guy. We can get to that story after. Marty? Can I tell you what the other machine that I bought right before I went to Japan?
Yeah.
Was since Colin mentioned it. So I bought one of the machines that Colin just mentioned.
Meteor.
Yes, that's right.
Nice.
And it is great. And what I like about that, I mean, everybody loves a good rip the spinner game when it's worth a lot. The great thing about Meteor, which I love, is it's not always that easy to get the max spinner lit, and then you can easily lose it by knocking down all the targets. So you've really got to just absolutely know your timing on that game.
Well, and you'll knock down the targets even when you hit. You'll hit the spinner perfectly, and it'll come through, and it'll knock down the last one or two targets you had up, and now it's back to zero value.
That's right.
So I think I've got a prototype one because I still don't have it here. It's sitting in a different state, picked up by I mentioned the name. It's Paul Jones helping out, Australia's #1 ranked player at the moment. Yeah, and he has one himself, and he just kind of put them side by side, and he's like, "You're missing the I think it's called like they called dead bumpers, the ones that like they're bumpers. They look like pop bumpers, but they're just switches. To the right, like the one that's like when you first loop it around, it's just a star rollover. So I think I've got like a prototype playfield one. I'm sure I could, convert it to another one if I just drilled a hole and stuck one in there. But that's interesting. Yes.
So I guess my question to you then, particularly that kind of solid state era, what do you think makes a good tournament game from that era? I mean, ripping the spinner is one thing, but what else? Because there are some spinner games that people just don't like.
Yeah, I mean, my preference is, and I've actually toyed with selling my Grand Prix because there really isn't much strategy to it. It's just rip the spinner. And there's no flipper transferring skills required. If you have it on a flipper, you simply hit the spinner that's available to you from that flipper. And so to that extent, I don't necessarily like that element. I mean, the spinners feel great. I've got my spinners nice and dialed in so that you can pretty much get max bonus in one good spinner rip. But I actually prefer to have a spinner game that requires some type of skill or sequence to light the spinner that doesn't involve hitting the spinner.
Kind of like Alien Star, right? Alien Star, you need to get that. What is it like? You have to get into hit all the drop targets down, and then hit the spinner a number of times or something, and then when you're in multi-ball, was it shats the lanes, and then hit the spinner for like 10x.
Yeah. Get your the out lane. No, not the out lane, Marty. That one.
I did correct myself.
So yeah, that's a great game for learning how to shats, because you need to be able to shats to get the in lane, and the spinner's on a timer that you have to hit it. But once you hit the spinner, then it will continue to count it at that. I think it's 5x or 10x. I think it's 10x value. Yeah. From the in lane, and oh man, that's such a good feeling on that one. Huh.
None in Australia. 0. Doesn't exist.
We'll never see them.
Yeah. So talking about Pinburgh, it's coming up in 2 weeks now, is it, Marty?
Correct.
Cool. Yep. So yesterday we had poor Steve Bowden. The Pinburgh banks were revealed in collaboration with Deep Root Pinball, and I watched the first kind of 10 games before I went to bed, because it started at about 1 a.m. And he said, we're only going to play one ball. And I'm like, by the time I wake up, it'll be over.
Yeah, I thought 5 hours for sure.
Yeah, and then I had a really long sleep, woke up, and he was still going, and he still had like 100 games to go. And I was like,
we had the whole day to go.
Yeah, wow. It was. How much of that footage did you watch, Colin and Marty?
I probably would have watched, I reckon, all up maybe 4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I probably watched somewhere close to that. I watched some in the morning when it first came on, and we had a wedding we were attending of our next door neighbor's daughter got married, and so we had a lazy morning just hanging out, and so I was watching that, some in the background, and the kids were goofing around, and yeah, it was the same thing where after the wedding was over, I got back late night and thinking that okay, they're probably done or close to done. Nope, they still had like 50 or 60 games still to go.
I didn't get to see. Go for it, Colin.
The hilarious part was that I'm watching this and I'm expecting that because they were joking about it in the morning about how when Steve was making usual typical Steve Bowden moves of high level skills, great outlane saves, and they're joking about you're not going to want to make those saves later on. I think Bowen he was on earlier in the day, and he ran a calculation at that point, and being a mathematician, you can pretty much trust that he was dead on in his estimate at the time. He said, "Yeah, based on this, you're going to be doing this for 19 hours."
Wow.
So I think then probably as the day wore on, it did probably impact both his desire and his skills, and so then he probably didn't have quite as many of the long one ball games that he had. A couple of amazing ones on like Lord of the Rings and. But still, I was watching one late last night, and I forget which game it was. He made a fantastic outlane save, and he's been playing for 13, 14 hours straight, and he makes this magnificent save with a great nudge. And I'm thinking, man, if I would have been in that shoes, I would have just like waved goodbye to the ball.
No. He was still trying all the way up to the end. But what was really funny was whenever he got a house ball, it was like, yep, done, move to the next one. It's the first time I've ever seen him really just absolutely not give a shit about getting a house ball.
Well, because I watched the first 10 games, you could tell like when he had like a really bad ball. I don't think there was any house balls for the first 10 or so. He was kind of like sitting there, like, and then the ball would go back into the shooter lane, and you could tell he just wanted to plunge again, and like, come on, give me another go.
Yeah, I know.
But of course, at the end, he was just like, yeah, next.
Yeah, he was reaching down underneath the right side, turning the game off. Move on.
He was leaning down straight away.
Well, because nothing's been done similar to that before, right? I mean, people have played in the 24 hours at the Sanctum and Death by Pinball in Australia. But, once you finish a round, you're waiting for other people to finish so you can at least sit down and relax and this and that. Whereas this is just, what was it, like 15 hours of nonstop play pretty much, right?
Yeah. The only thing I can think of that would be similar. I mean, and Jack Danger, who was on also in the morning doing a little remote commentating, he did a 24-hour stream once. And he mentioned it multiple times, both on his stream and also in person, that there were parts like like a knee or a foot or whatever that he has said was in pain for like 2 weeks afterwards.
Yeah,
wow.
Because he was standing up the whole time. I mean, I think at least with Steve, he did take a break to sit down and I think to eat, and I think with Jax, he was specifically standing the whole time. He never sat down. But with Steve, he did at least get to sit down a couple times to grab a quick bite to eat, and maybe while they were moving the camera over long distances within the facility. But still, remarkable feat when he by doing all of that, and it was something else to watch. And also, I've got to give a shout out to the other guys in the Papa TV crew that also moved all those cameras.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
For 14, 15 hours. I mean, Doug and Fred and Jake and Petey, whoever else was doing that, not Pinside Petey.
The likable one.
And yeah, exactly. And they were doing yeoman's work there of moving those cameras.
Yeah, it was a really slick operation towards the end. It would just move it on, next, switched up, play, plunge, go. Really good.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Pinburgh last year then, right? So we will talk about our expectations for this year, but let's talk about 2017. And obviously, spoiler, you won. We talked about that before. But tell us about what it was like and the journey you went through to get to that final stage.
Well, so the journey for me started with similar to what I'll be doing this year, as far as taking a nice long road trip from Austin, Texas, and driving. So we actually drive as a family across the country to get to Pinburgh, and there we have a couple pit stops along the way to visit some of my wife's family. So it's a family trip plus a pinball trip. It's good use of being able to justify this, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, honey, let's go travel across the country to see your family. Yeah, that's so we made that trip, and then like I have the past couple years, my wife and my two sons come with me. My daughter stays with her grandmother. She likes to just hang out with her instead of coming to the festival. And so it all started out. This is now the I think last year was the third year that they held it in the big convention center versus where it was held previously at the Papa headquarters. So that wasn't a new thing last year. That was, so it was kind of, nothing unusual there, nothing to unusually expected. And, the typical thing, as far as, going there and you've got to, you're waking up fairly early in the morning that first day, and it's a long day, both Thursday and Friday. And if you qualify for finals and do well in the finals Saturday, but Thursday and Friday are long days, and you have to be prepared with very comfortable shoes. I also bring a folding tripod chair, like you buy at an outdoors sports store that you can use if you're going out camping or people that go hunting, and so that way I can sling that over my shoulder and plop that down. And the one general comment I have to most people, Steve Bowden is always be caching. Well, at Pinburgh, always be sitting.
Yeah, okay.
So there's tip number one, Marty. So always be sitting, and yeah. So it got started off last year, fairly decently, but I knew, going into it last year, I didn't have. Of course, I think, okay, yeah, if I play really well, I think I can compete. I think I can, contend for the whole thing. But my goal was simply, I wanted to make finals again, and I wanted to not get knocked out in the first round. Because the previous year, I'd made finals, I got knocked out in the first round. And that was my first time I made Pinburgh finals, was the 2 years prior, or a year prior. And in previous Papa tournaments, both when I was playing in B division and then the one time I competed in A division, I've always made the finals, and which is great. I mean, that's awesome. I'm very happy with that. But every single year, I'd get knocked out in the first round. So it was a frustration point of, okay, this is not a good trend to be on and a habit to have. So my goal was simply, okay, make the finals, don't get knocked out in the first round. So with that in mind, most people always think about the later rounds, when it's like, oh, I came so close. Well, a point that you score in the first round is worth the exact same as a point you score in the last round. So right off the bat, in the very first round, I was thinking, okay, I'm highly ranked. You're going to get paired up, in the Pinburgh style. There's going to be more of like the slaughter format in the very first round. And so I'm like, okay, I've got to get my chances in here and get some good points. And I didn't play poorly, but I didn't do as well as I would have wanted. I think I took like maybe a 7 or an 8, which is still good, but you're hoping, you want to do really well that particular round. The thing about Pinburgh, which always surprised me, and it was no different last year, I think that when they do this, sometimes you'll get matched up with somebody at the lowest ranking in your group, and they will have been somebody that maybe they just simply haven't played in many tournaments, and they're an outstanding player. Right. And that was why I don't remember who it was last year, but it was my very first round. I think it was the person who was, going into it when I was looking at their seating, they were seated the lowest, and yet they played really well. And it wasn't just like they were getting lucky. They were a really good pinball player. And it was just simply a matter of they just simply don't play many tournaments, and or they didn't had a chance to play in many tournaments that were of high value. And so you'll get that all the time. So what the lesson learned from last year is, regardless of who's in your group, whether it's the first round or later rounds, it's just you're always going to have people that are good, and you're always going to have people that surprise you. And so the first round was pretty good. The second round was also good. And I wasn't really doing, I think, really well. I think it was maybe in round 3 that I had an exceptional round that kind of vaulted me up into the higher standings. And I knew I was playing really well when after the first when I got to the last round, or the last grouping rather of session 5. So it's the last session. There's 5 sessions per day. And in the last session, suddenly I had Trent Augenstein and Zach Sharp in my group.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, All right, I'm playing pretty well because up till that point I really wasn't necessarily looking at my seating. I kind of a lot of times I'll try not to pay much attention to my seating at each particular round because I don't want to get wrapped up in that. I just simply want to focus on the next ball and the next game. I don't want to get thinking about, okay, I need to do this particular round, because at that point it's so early, it's not worth it.
Leading up to that, are you there sort of chatting away, or is it all just it's business time?
I try to find a little bit of a mix with that. And of course, it also depends on the people in your group. Some people want to chat, some people don't. I try to some extent, because I just think it's fun to get to know people. I always try to remind myself that, hey, the primary goal of all of this is to have fun. Of course, I'm competitive and I like to do well. I like to win, but it's fun to just meet new people, and it's the same thing I tell my sons is that there was a point earlier on when I was playing in competitive pinball where I would get overly excited when my opponents would drain, or get overly upset when my opponents would do well. And I realized that it's not a fun way to play. So I much prefer now. I try to, cheer on and, from my opponents when they do well, and encourage them or commend them when they have a great ball or a great game. And I think it's just more fun that way. I think it's more fun for everybody involved. And so if other people do that when I'm playing too, I think that's just a better way to do it. And for me, that's also kind of a stress reliever. If I'm just simply focused on only playing the game, I'm going to get probably nervous or get overly worked up over something. So yeah, it's more fun to just to play the game and celebrate with other people or lament with other people when they have a ball that jumps over the slingshot and goes into the out lane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ghostbusters. Yep.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, all the time at Ghostbusters. So yeah, the next day, the second day. So after the first day, you get assigned to a division. And so I had been playing really well throughout the first day, and that last group, I think I won. I think I had a 10-2 that last round. So I ended on a very high note of the first day, which was great. And then the second day, I continued to play well. I just every game that I stepped up to, I didn't have a whole lot of really bad games. And so that's what I've really learned is that just try to eliminate the zeros, try to eliminate the ones. And you don't necessarily have to win every game or win most games. Just don't do really poorly on games, and you'll end up all right. And that's how it worked out. And I did, I kept chugging along. And the dinner break was interesting. I think it was after session 8, between 8 and 9 is a dinner break on the second day, and at that point, you're going to dinner, so of course you're going to be looking at things. And at that point, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm ranked second. I'm in the second seed over this whole tournament, where I was going to be happy if I simply make the finals and have a chance to get out of the first round. And suddenly I'm in second place, where as long as I just have some decent rounds in the last two groups, I will have at least one bye and maybe even two byes. And sure enough, and of course at that point, when you're playing in the second to last and the very last one, you're playing against the best of the best. And so yeah, my second to last group was with Zach and Jim Belcito and Donovan Stepp, and everybody it was just a bloodbath of a group. I think it was I had a 6 and 6. I think the best person in the group had a 7. And another 6, another 5. So we just all, balanced out pretty well. And then the very last, I think I remember having Kaylee in my very last group, and I think I took another 6. So once again, it wasn't a great group. I didn't do well in terms of, you don't want to just take 6s the whole time, but when you're already up in the second seed, then that was just perfectly fine. And I coasted in essentially to the second seed with a double bye, and suddenly I'm in the finals, and I already have 2 byes, so I've already met my goal.
So it's the top 40 that gets through, is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. And so then day 3. So with day 1 and day 2, how long has each of these days gone as far as playing pinball start to finish?
I think it goes right about 12 hours.
Jeez.
It's not. I mean, you're not playing constantly though.
No,
so
but it's
not
a long day.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said always be sitting, because take the chance whenever you're not playing to sit down, unless it's a game that you simply don't know, or if you want to, if there's some, like if there's a particular game where you're going to be going to the scoop a lot, like an Addams Family, and you want to see how the chair is kicking out or how the swamp is kicking out, watch a ball or two to get a feel for that. But after that point in time, sit your butt down.
Okay.
You're not a headphones player, are you, Colin?
I'm not. I tried that very briefly a few years back, and I just enjoy the whole experience of playing pinball too much. I've never been a headphones player. Sometimes I will put on my headphones if I'm between games to try to maybe calm myself down most of the time, or if I need to amp myself up by listening to something with a good beat to it. But no, I don't play with headphones when I play pinball.
Are you bringing your headphones, Marty?
Yep, absolutely.
And will you do that every game, Marty?
No, I don't think I will. I'm probably like you. I will do that when I'm feeling like I'm playing really bad, or I'm feeling like I'm being distracted. Listening to me for music just sort of calms me down, centers me, and then I'll take them off and keep playing. But I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, because to Marty's point, I mean, it's when you're playing in that big of a venue with roughly 300 other pins all going at the same time, it gets loud, and so you can still hear your pin that you're playing on to some different degree, depending on what type of volume's turned up on it. And but you definitely, I mean, there's something you definitely do want to hear the sounds on to, so that way if you didn't have a chance to look up to hear that you got a danger, but that also means you have to know what the danger sound is, and in some cases you may not know it or may not be able to hear the danger sound very well anyway.
Yeah, I usually find, and look, famously I'm known for not knowing rules, right? We all know that. So, and much to what Ryan's anger, I'm also not a good sound person. I am more visual. So I actually find if I am listening to, if I've got music on and I'm blocking out the sound around me, I can actually focus more about what I'm seeing rather than a call out. So the payoff for me is headphones work better because I'm not listening to anything that's going on anyway.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody recently, and they said, I mean, because when I'm not wearing headphones, which is almost all the time, I get distracted usually by another pinball because I'm so interested in sound.
Yeah.
If I'm next to Guardians of the Galaxy, I can be like, that guy is now playing the Bobbly Bobo mode, and he's doing this, and he's hitting that shot, and it distracts me from my game. And I was talking to somebody else, and he said, no, I can drown all that out because that's just kind of like, I know the sounds that pinball machines are going to make. He goes, what I can't drown out is the insane reactions that people have when they swear and they drain and they stomp their feet and they get angry. He goes, that's really random, and I can't block that out. So that's why I wear headphones. It's to protect myself against people's reactions next to me.
Mm. Yeah, I could see that. There's definitely people overreacting, or
Well, that's kind of what I was asking before. Was about how it is the biggest event in the world, each year. Some people are taking this really seriously, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
and many people over seriously.
Yeah, that's right. Well, when you got a $15,000 prize money up front, right there, that's something that people want. And this is what I've sort of heard, and only heard. I've been to Papa, I haven't been to Pinburgh. Is that because this is bigger, and because of there's so many games that you've got to play, and it is just this engine that keeps running. That's what makes people have to focus and be more intent on what they're doing.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, although at the same time, I see a lot of times where you'll have players that maybe have no idea what they're doing on a pin, and they're not necessarily so intense about thinking, I have to absolutely do this or that, and they're just simply getting up there and playing the game, and just flipping at the ball and, keeping it in play, especially on some of these old, because there's such a skew towards the older games in Pinburgh. And so you can get up there and simply, be, playing on the fly player and not worried about trying to control it and do this exact sequence of steps to maximize your score. And they may end up beating the person that's really intense, 7 times out of 10. It depends on the player in the game, of course, but it's, I think there's a lot of people that, they do get definitely wrapped up about it, and they do get overly intense because of the gravity of the situation and the magnitude of the event, for sure. And I've been known to fall prey to that as well. But I think there's a lot of times where I think a lot of people could do themselves great good by simply relaxing.
Yeah, I know.
Couple of shots of gin.
I like the hip flask.
Talking about rules, Colin. I mean, how many games are there in Pinburgh? 280 or
88.
Okay, so that's. I mean, I know a decent amount of rules of like a select few pins. I mean, Marty pumps me up and says, I know all the rules. I know the rules of like the games that I own. Or not even. I don't even know the rules for AC/DC and Walking Dead properly. Just the ones that I play a lot. So how's it possible that you can, know all the rules and step up to a machine when there's 288 of them and somehow know what to do? I mean, some people use pin tips, but we've heard that you've got your own version of pin tips, right?
Yeah, I've got my own. I've got a Google sheet that I keep for myself of all the different notes that I've taken from playing pins and from, taking the rule sheets are out there and the key parts that I feel are most important and distilling those down to something that's easy for me to understand, or my personal way that I like to approach a pin. And then in some cases, I started doing this really because of Pinburgh, and because that first time I went to Pinburgh, encountering so many pins that I'd never played and didn't have any idea how to play. And at that point in time, there wasn't a pin tips. And so initially it was a collective effort with some of the other guys from Austin that we went to Pinburgh together. And so we started to collect some of these things as far as just saying, okay, different who played this one and what do you do on this. And then I took it because of the internet and because of rule sheets that are out there and other videos on YouTube from not just tutorials, because some of these obscure ones there aren't tutorials for. But you can usually find somebody that has recorded at least some segment of video that is out there. And you can also find a lot of detail on some of these on IPDB, and whether it's
the rule card as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you'll have pictures of the sometimes you'll have a picture that's of the rule card, or you'll have a separate file that you can download of the manual. So I've been known to spend some time looking at the manuals for older pins, not Gottlieb's because those aren't out there. But everything else, if I didn't happen to know how to play it, I would actually go, and if there's a manual, I'd pull it up, and they have the exact rules laid out as far as what the rules are. And then you have to take it to the next step of then saying, okay, those are the rules. Now what's the strategy? And so that's a whole nother level of, you have to figure those things out in a lot of cases on your own, because the strategy I might employ might be totally different than what Marty might want to do.
Yeah.
Exactly, the strategy. I mean, some people write little like, oh, hey, I figured out how to blow up Batman, and it's this like 70 bullet point sequence that you have to do. Which, do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of impossible. But when I look at pin tips, I mean, it's a great resource, but it's kind of like just one thing. Like, oh, hey, like this is a good tip in multi-ball, but it's like, well, what do I do before then, and how do I qualify multiple, and this and that. So. And then a rule sheet, like when you step up to a pin and you've got 1 minute to figure out how to play it, you might find this really extensive rule sheet, but you can't read it and digest it all in 1 minute. So I guess what you have is that perfect thing. Because I remember I asked you once, 'cause I had Sea Witch for a while, and I was pretty sure I was playing it in the right way, but I kind of asked you to read out your guide on on Seawitch. I was like, okay, I didn't know that little flashing light bit, and not to hit not to try and hit 2 drops at the same time, hit one because there's a delay. And I guess what you're sitting on a gold mine because.
Yep, I look forward to receiving the list. Thanks. Now that I'm aware of it, thank you, Ryan. You'd help out a bro. Thanks, man. So how, did you rely on that list? So going back to 2017, now sort of into the finals, did you sort of rely on that list, or was that when you're now top 40, you've got a couple of buys? Is it now just bringing it all together and the best of the best?
No, I still rely on it. I still relied on it during the finals. I don't think there was any of the games that were in the finals last year that I hadn't already played before. So most of but it's still, even so, it's still also always nice to just kind of go back to it and go, just to remind myself, oh yeah, like on high hand, just to remind myself as I'm stepping up to it going, oh, that's right. If it's going down the out lane and if I've got a bunch of cards already complete, don't try to nudge it out of the out lane. Let it drain, which is very unusual. So it's just good reminders of that and just, basic things. Like it's also like on that game. So I like I said, this is where approaches can differ between different players, where some players may choose on high hand that they might decide that they want to go for the upper drops first, and they may have their reasoning behind that. For me, I want to go for the lower drops because of the geometry of the pin. If you hit one of the lower drop banks, most of the time it's going to ricochet over to the opposite side and you're going to get 2 for 1. So, like I said, there may be other people that they want to go for the upper drops because that's a little bit safer. You don't have as much side-to-side action that might be trying to drain your ball as quickly. But, little things like that.
Do you find the older pins or the newer pins need more... you need to study them more because, something that works on one version of the pin might not work on the other. Are the older pins more affected by that or the newer ones?
I think that, okay, so I'll break this down into two types because there's really 2 elements to this. So on the older pins, it is imperative that you know the thing, because usually on older pins, there is simply a thing. One thing that you need to know how to do in order to have at least a decent score on it. And you just, in some cases, it's not obvious. And it's not obvious how to go about accomplishing it. Like in some cases, it's very clear on an old machine, like an early solid state or an EM, that, that has first off, look for a spinner. Is there a spinner? Yes. Can it be lit? Yes. Then figure out how to light it. Well, in some cases, in older games, sometimes it's not obvious how to light the spinner. And if you don't know that, then you're going to be going for your first couple balls just trying to figure that out. So there's almost like this really big stepwise change. If you think, of course, I'm a nerd, so I think of things in terms of functions. So there's this big step and this big cliff in the function of your success level on a pin for an early game, knowing at least something very basic. But then when you get to the modern pins, you have to know a lot more because you get to a lot more situational play. And the ones that you guys are probably most familiar with, like we can talk about Star Trek. Someone can even know not just the rules, they can even know some of the strategies of Star Trek, but based on the situation they end up in, your strategy needs to change. And so if you are, first off, if you're going to go like on a common strategy on Star Trek, if you're going on a long play and if you are in ball 1 and you think it's set up relatively easily, you can try to go for some of the triple stacks of going for a column, like go for your Nero column, go for your Destroy the Drill column, and then get your 2x multipliers on your left orbit and your 2x multiplier on your warp ramp, and then you can just murder Save the Enterprise. But if you start playing Star Trek and you have 2 bad balls, you're probably not going to be afforded the luxury of going 3 deep on Nero and 3 deep on Destroy the Drill. So you have to shift gears. You have to change to something else. And so then you have to know situationally, okay, where am I at, and what's the best thing to do now? Okay, am I close enough to Klingon multi-ball? Should I just focus on that? And then if so, what mode do I want to bring into Klingon multi-ball, or do I want to play one more mode and then get to the second level mode to bring into Klingon? So that's where it's and you really can't even capture that in, like, I don't have that level of detail in my notes on some of those moderns. That's really something that you almost have to know just from playing it enough and keeping some semblance of track of what to do.
But, I mean, Pinburgh banks are kind of like one modern, and then the rest are a lot older and don't have that strategy. So I guess it is mostly the older games that you have to worry about versus the newer games. Do you think?
Yeah, I would agree, because I mean, I think, and I would say for most people, of course, there's going to be some people that if they've grown up with classics, or if that's what they have or what they're used to, then maybe it's different for them. But I would say for your average pinball player in 2018, they've probably seen a lot more moderns than classics.
Yeah.
And the way I always see it with those is the older the machine, the less amount of maximum flips you're really going to have each ball, right? So I think then it becomes really more important to understand exactly what is going to give you the maximum amount of points within the minimum amount of shots, if you know what I mean. But the good thing is, at least with those machines, you can look at the rule card and know most about what you need to do, right?
Yeah, correct. Most of the time. But there's also the worst ones I've found are some of the early wedge heads. And you know what I mean by wedge heads, correct?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Okay. So the wedge heads, for any of your listeners that aren't familiar, it's the really old EMs. They're usually single player, and they're also usually tilt ends game. And so a lot of those old rule cards, all it tells you how to do is how to earn the extra ball in the special.
Which doesn't matter at all.
Not anymore.
It makes
Right.
no difference. You can't. Those were so early. You can't even set those to points, and so they're absolutely worthless. And it says how to earn the extra ball to special and what's the replay value. You're completely lost.
And usually those machines have nothing on pin tips as well.
Correct.
There were no tournaments back in was it like the 50s or something? When were wedge heads around?
60s.
Yeah, something
60s,
like that, yeah. But I mean, they still get played now, but I guess you're probably reliant on everything that's been at Papa in that facility, because they're the ones that keep coming out each year.
Correct. Yeah. So, for instance, right now, I mean, I did notice that they did finally put up an updated pin list on the Replay FX website, but they do not have it broken down by banks yet, like they did on the broadcast. And I haven't seen anybody put out whether from Papa or whether somebody who was being quite industrious and recording, writing down every single game and which bank they were in. So,
well, have you noticed many new games, Colin?
So one game I noticed, which I have no clue how to play, I've never played before, is Bounty Hunter. So that was one that showed up late last night, like after I got back from the wedding, and it's a Gottlieb solid state that I think is it's one of those weird eras Gottliebs where I think they were
Premiere 1985.
Yeah, they were intentionally making things, simple, that, single level, not including any ramps like everybody else at that particular, for that game. And that one looks interesting. I didn't even know that one existed. And so now I'll need to go spend some time looking up how to play it.
Get that spreadsheet out. I'm trying to find a picture of the rule card, but it's just it's too hard. It's too pixelated.
Yeah, I can't see that either.
It's like a bonus game.
Yeah,
right.
But I guess what we're really saying is that a lot of the machines from last year are still going to make up the majority of the machines that are there. Obviously, Iron Maiden's going to be new this year. Was TNA in it last year? Or was that, have we just missed the cut for that?
Just missed the cut for it. It wasn't in it last year.
Yeah, so it's in there this year.
Correct.
And I think that's going to be... I was looking, because right at the end, I think might have been the last 12 machines, maybe, would have been all the machines that are going to be up on the stage.
Yeah. So they're correct. The last 12, and I think they skipped over TNA because they didn't have one there at the facility last night.
Yep.
But so I think there's the only other two, well, not only other two. two others that I've noticed that weren't there last year that are there this year are two of the ones they featured in some of the recent Papa TV live broadcasts. And so they had a Spirit of 76.
Yes.
Which I had played before, but they didn't have that previously, and they also did it's a Gottlieb solid state timeline. They did timeline a couple of weeks ago, I think, as part of the Papa TV Live, and that one they didn't have before. But I've played both of those. I played the Spirit of 76 once at a collector's tournament up in North Texas, and then Timeline I played for the first time actually when I was over in Denmark last year.
So not many changes. I found the rule card for Bounty Hunter, by the way. Would you like to know how to play? Would you
Yes.
like me to explain to Colin MacAlpine how to play Bounty Hunter?
Absolutely.
Yeah, how do we play Bounty Hunter? Let's do it.
Well, to get the barrel bonus.
Let me pull up the playfield. So I've got it.
To get the barrel bonus, right? You need to shoot the loop in the proper direction.
Proper direction. Okay.
The proper direction. So there's two entrances to the loop. Make sure you do it in the proper direction. That increases your barrel bonus and fires bullets. Then there's something called the chamber bonus. Okay, and shooting the hole lights an additional spot target number, which is yellow, and hitting the spot target when lit will light the corresponding chambers. Completing the ABC lights the hole. There you go, Bounty Hunter in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And the only other thing on there is extra ball and special, like you said.
Marty's gonna get a 3.
Yeah,
he'll get a 3 on that one.
I'm as good as one Pinburgh just by that. Thank you. So, wow.
That is the most ridiculous, oversized gun I've ever seen on a playfield before. Are you looking at the playfield?
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh
Well, hey, there's Kingpin. Oh no, that's on the translate, isn't it? Kingpin. Yeah.
But I'm keen to play this game. This for Gottlieb's of this era. I do actually quite like. So.
Well, you're talking about a Spirit of 76 before. I actually kind of stumbled across that. I ended up watching the, I think it was the Guardians of the Galaxy Puppo tutorial, and which is probably changed again because they keep on changing those rules. But I think after that,
that's outdated already. Yeah.
Yeah, they started playing the Spirit of 76 right after that. Just automatically started playing. And I kind of watched a little bit of it, and there's that important rule, I guess, on the last ball you can get double bonus collect or something. Is that how it works? Do you want to explain the rules for Spirit of 76 on the last ball?
Yeah, sure. I think that's correct. Let me pull that one up.
Marty, you're just salivating at the mouth now, aren't you? Like, I need to get this spreadsheet.
Yeah,
I really do. I mean, all I know at the moment is that there was 10,300 units of them made. That is it.
So Spirit of 76. So the first thing you want to do is plunge for C. And I'm guessing that's if I know that one, I don't have that playfield up in front of me, but it's probably because you can't get C from one of the lower lanes.
That's right, because the lower lanes are A, B, D, and E. So the only way. Yeah, so I think actually this is one of the ones that I paid attention to yesterday. So this is get the C, get everything, and then just, isn't it like whale into the center scoop or something? Targets are worth a bit.
Well, but only after it. You'll be lucky. Anybody will be lucky to survive long enough to actually have that center scoop worth anything.
Yeah.
So you have to. So let's see. You have to hit the drops to advance bonus, or you can, or you complete. Okay. You can also light the star rollovers to advance bonus. So anytime you complete an A, B, C, D, E lane, it will light one of the star rollovers, which will also advance bonus. Completing A, B, C, D, E lights 2x bonus, so you get your double bonus if you do A, B, C, D, E, but 2x bonus is given for free on ball 5. Here's where you can blow it up, though. Okay. The drops will never come back up. Oh, here we go. If you shoot the lit saucer, when 2x bonus is qualified, either from A, B, C, D or ball 5, then the lit saucer will give you 4x bonus.
Yeah,
There you go.
That's what I watched John do on the Papa stream, and man, it just took forever to count down. It just sat in the saucer for like a minute. But the funny thing was, when he got the 4x collect, it then starts your bonus back at 0. And the drops don't come back up, so he couldn't really figure out how to advance the bonus further. Well, I mean, he'd already won by that stage. But
Yeah. Yeah. If you've gotten that, you've probably already won. Yeah, you probably don't need to be worrying about getting more bonus after that.
Yeah. So what game, Colin, do you see people commonly play? And I'm guessing this might be a modern game because you don't see people playing the older ones too often. But what game do you see people playing incorrectly in your opinion? Like the wrong strategy. What's the most common game for that?
Let's see.
Well, it doesn't have to be a complete strategy, but like going for like Twilight Zone, for example. I see so many people going for the skill shot, which just is kind of irrelevant when you have the risk associated with it.
Not a good idea. Sure. I would say so. A couple. I mean, so definitely some of the more current ones or modern ones. Well, it would take way too long to explain how to play Game of Thrones correctly. But sometimes you see people not they go into Blackwater multi-ball without a mode, and they think they're getting into a multi-ball, and for the most part, there are rare occasions when people can have a really good Blackwater multi-ball by itself. But like I said, that's not the typical, that's not the normal. And so a Blackwater multi-ball really isn't all that valuable other than getting some great mode shots in, with what you stack. And typically, if you want to do what I consider the best stack for that is with Greyjoy and Lannister running with it. Because even if you get to the best part, what's the best part of Blackwater multi-ball?
Cashing in the supers.
Cashing in supers.
And the light's blinding you in the face.
So winter has come. That's winter has come, Marty. Yeah. but even if you get to, so what's the base value of a super typically?
Is it? I've seen it as low as like 17, so I'm guessing like 15 or so.
Yeah, 17 is what I usually see it at as well. So I think it's probably 15, and you get some accumulation of points, and so it's usually right about 17.
Where does that even come from? I never know how to increase the jackpot.
Yeah, no idea.
Do you know, Colin? Come on. If you don't know how, no one knows.
I think I have something to do with maybe the 5 shots that you hit, but it never seems to change. Even if you get some decent combo multipliers into the jackpots, it still always seems to be a base value of 17. So great. So that means you're going to get 17 million on a shot that will probably only register 50% of the time because that battering ram is crap.
Yep. Correct.
Yeah.
So let's do the math then. So just divide by 2. So now you're getting around 8.5 million per shot. Okay. I will take your butt. I will take your ass to the cleaners, and it just by shooting Greyjoy on combo multipliers. The Greyjoy mode is ridiculously powerful as long as you're comboing, and it's safe. So anyway, so that's one thing. Was like, for instance, people think that I completely agree that especially early on in the game, if you can get no multi-ball just so you can get the feel for the shots, that can be very valuable. But in terms of actually thinking that the Blackwater multi-ball is going to give you the end-all be-all, it's not. The other one you see, it's not as recent of a game, but you see a lot of people messing up is X-Men, and they play Magneto multi-ball before they've played enough of the heroes, the good guys. And then their Magneto multi-ball is virtually worthless.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Yeah, that's a game I really have no idea. And just because there just hasn't really been that many X-Men's out on site for us to play, so I'm completely fucked.
Let's change that. So let's see. I think it's not. This one you can get into a lot of detail, but let's see if we can simplify this. So, so first off, you can get into a multi-ball fairly easily by hitting the Wolverine, that big bash target.
Yep.
But it's even better if you can maybe get 1 or 2 hits in Wolverine, and then you want to qualify a villain before you start Wolverine. And so the way you qualify a villain is by completing your inlanes, or you can get inlanes spotted by shooting the scoop on the left.
Okay. It's a fairly safe shot depending on the kick out, right?
Yeah, depending on that. Sometimes you can even live catch it and then backhand it back into the scoop, and you're good to go. But good luck trying to find that when you step up to a game cold that you've never played that physical copy before. But so you want to. But a lot of times, also with Pinburgh, depending upon how your group is playing and how they're playing on that particular game, you may even just be better off just simply starting your Wolverine multi-ball and having a decent Wolverine multi-ball. That may even get you the win without doing a max point strategy.
Well, that's right, because there's also that element of psyching out, your opponent. Like, particularly if you're drawn and you're up first, sometimes it's actually quite okay to just be a little bit above, so it puts pressure on people to try and beat that. And sometimes that's a good strategy as well. And that also works well. Back talking about Game of Thrones, like, even though you talked about the Blackwater multi-ball not being worth that much, but if you get it on your first ball, all of a sudden you've got 300 mil. Somebody's got to chase that, and that can add a bit of pressure as well.
Correct. Yep. And so, and then there's and then there's also some games where on some of the earlier games you want to. I'm trying to think. I don't know if they're going to have any of these there. There's we had a couple of them, or one of them at Cactus Jacks in Oklahoma City, one of these early EM game, one of those EM games that had multi-ball. And so in between games, if there were balls locked, they would stay locked between players.
Yeah.
And so before you choose your order, if it's one of those games that has the potential for having balls that are still physically locked from the prior game, you want to, don't just necessarily, if you just got last on the, you got the fourth place score on the previous one, you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to play fourth because I want to see what everybody else is doing. That may not be your best bet. I don't even know if there's any of those at Papa. I don't recall. But still, it's always, you always want to be sure, if there's a game like that you choose carefully. There's not very many of them.
Just back on X-Men for a second, I had a question that it might be gone now, but you talked about live catching and shoving it straight back in the scoop to spot you another letter. Is there a timer associated with that? Because I know there's a game, I think it might be Tron, that if you get the ball back into that scoop, the arcade, too quickly, it won't register the shot. It thinks that it might have failed the kick out and the ball went back in there.
Like that's correct.
Yeah. So you have to kind of like wait a little. So does X-Men have the same thing? Because I guess they're both programmed by Lonnie, I think.
I don't know. Because I mean, I guess I don't think if you take the time to live catch it and and then cradle it, I think that's plenty of time. I think I've seen that. I think I've seen that before. Is on Trons where if you have if the scoop is so powerful, if you're just holding up the
flipper up,
and it's simply bouncing off the flipper and back directly into it, where it won't register it.
Okay.
But I don't know if I've ever seen that in X-Men.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's one that you play wrong. But so Marty, there's of the 288, there's probably a couple that you don't know what you're doing on, right?
but then it comes, and it's a topic that we've talked about only very recently when we've been talking about Iron Maiden, because Iron Maiden is particularly good for at least being able to look at the lights that are flashing in the inserts to know what you've got to do. But there are a lot of machines that if I don't know the rules, I'm relying on what the machine's trying to tell me, and sometimes.
But Marty, there's pretty advanced strategies for Iron Maiden already, as we can see.
Yep,
Colin, your Iron Maiden strategy, go.
So if have I found the plunge skill shot yet or not?
Sure, you have.
Okay, do you guys know about all the different plunge skill shots now?
There's like a million of them.
There is a million.
We don't have all day, Colin. We don't have all day.
Okay, you only need to know one. If you can do the Congo skill shot on Iron Maiden, you'll probably win.
Right. Okay.
It's worth 25 million points.
Yeah, but I mean, what are the chances of doing that 3 times in a row?
Well, if you've measured out the skill shot, then you're good to go.
Fair enough.
Okay, so when Keith Allen was talking about taking pictures of his the skill shots and his knuckles, I don't actually know what that means. Is he taking a not that you know because you're not Keith Allen, but maybe you know the answer to it. Is he taking like a bird's eye view of where the end of the plunger is with the lines ruled out, or is he doing something with his knuckles? He mentioned something about his knuckles.
I don't know. That sounds kind of kinky. No. So no, he's probably. I'm assuming he's taking a picture of where the plunger is in the measurement window.
Yeah.
Okay.
The knuckles part is probably just what he's doing to brace the plunger to make sure that you get a consistent plunge every time.
Because you have to let go in a certain way as well. If you let go like without, like leaving your hand on it, then there isn't enough kinetic force to do it as if you just kind of let it go properly, right?
Correct. Well, and it gets even worse on the older games because you'll find this a lot more in classics and older games. But you've probably noticed that the plunger, as you pull it back, you can actually wiggle it back and forth.
Yeah.
And so there's a technique that I use where I brace the plunger against one side. So for me, I'm usually bracing the plunger against the right side. So I'm pulling the plunger towards me, if that makes sense. Not just like pulling it out, but I'm bracing it against the cap. And so what that's doing is that in older games, if the plunger is a little bit loose or wiggly, that means that the plunger tip is now going to be on the right side of the ball.
Well, do you also have to rotate the plunger assembly around, because someone else might have twisted it around, and if it's slightly bent to the left or the right, you're going to get a different plunge as well, right?
That's true. Yeah. Now you're getting into next level stuff.
Oh,
wow.
Man. Just plunge and hope. That's my style.
No. Plunge it. Measure your plunge, Marty. It's worth it.
Marty's given up already. It's like,
I'm there. I'm now just in my head going, yeah, I'm just going to be there to have fun. That's it.
Marty, we're talking to the person who won Pinburgh, so this is like next level stuff. There's different layers of the onion, right? Yeah,
exactly. So, yeah.
So what is your Pinburgh goal, Marty?
Oh yeah, what is your Pinburgh goal?
What is my
Pinburgh how many bottles of gin, Marty?
That's literally how many bottles of gin people are going to give me. That is going to be my measure of success.
Okay, I'm envisioning. Do you know a stand-up comedian here, famous in the United States, named Gabriel Iglesias?
Yes.
Fluffy. Yeah, fluffy. Anyway, he has this ongoing joke of like all the people that come to his shows and bring him chocolate cakes, because at one particular show he talked about how much he loves chocolate cakes. So I'm just envisioning this like Marty walking in with this armful of fifths.
Yeah,
make it happen, guys. Make it happen.
I will tell you. I've actually got this really interesting goal, and that my goal is to, if I ever happen to be on the stream, to not do something where people go, oh, he really doesn't know the rules of this game. If I can get away with that, then...
Well, the chances are, Marty, that's going to happen.
Well, it happened at Indisc, so...
On which game?
I'm not saying, just,
Well, I'm going to put you at ease, Marty.
Yeah.
So the only, at least last year, now they may have upgraded things, but they've made their point, I think, over a couple times when people have asked them this. They do not do any streaming of the qualifying rounds.
Awesome. Well,
so it is all what happens at Pinburgh stays at Pinburgh.
Well, I'm gonna have to message you, Marty, every 1.5 hours or whatever it is. How'd you go in that round?
And this is the thing. So Ryan knows this as well. The biggest thing I hate, if I feel that people are watching me, either playing or they're following my progress, that puts me on edge. So my phone is going to be off. Yeah. I need to just block out all that sort of distraction or expectations. And it's completely illogical, right? I'm just going to tell you. I'm going to give you an example where it's completely illogical. And this was, it was Papa last year, where someone had said to me before going into the finals, geez, you did really well on those old machines. And I went, oh yeah, I did do well on those old machines, and because I was driving the bus, I picked all these old machines, got all these house balls and failed, and I'm like, damn it, if that person hadn't said anything, I would not have picked those machines. It's completely illogical. So I just want to be completely in control of my own destiny. I don't know. It's all in your head. It is all in my head, but it's a psychological thing.
I won't message you, Marty. I won't message you. You message me, and okay. I'll give you thumbs ups. Okay.
Yep, that's all I need. No thumbs downs, just thumbs ups. So
make some gifts as well.
Sideways, so it's completely neutral. I don't know either way how you're feeling. Yeah.
You're gonna take Marty. You're gonna take Marty back to his grade school days. He's gonna feel like he's getting jilted by a girlfriend. Hey, don't call me. I'll call you.
Well, do you get the same? Do you get the same thing, Colin? Do you get people kind of like, because you're one of the better players, you have people just constantly kind of, hey, you're going pretty good. Yeah, you've got it in the bag, and this, that, and that. Does that throw you off, or are you kind of used to it by now that it doesn't affect you?
Yeah, it doesn't affect me, but most people that I'm talking about how a certain particular round has gone, or how did you go last round, or what did you score, are with my other friends who are there at Pinburgh. And so we're all, and that's actually one of my favorite memories from the early Pinburghs, back when it was at the Papa facilities, is you would naturally just go out and hang out in the parking lot in between rounds to have a beer out of the, we would be tailgating out of somebody's car in between rounds, swapping stories of, how this pin screwed me over, and I got this house balled and that house balled, and but in that round I was playing with Keith Elwin that round. All the stories of just sharing the bad beats or the amazing comebacks, and to me those are some of my favorite memories of Pinburgh.
So here's a really dumb question that is probably really obvious to the 800 or so people going to Pinburgh.
Sounds like it already.
Yeah. So there's the Papa facility in Pittsburgh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, outside of Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Okay.
About 20 minutes out.
And Pinburgh is held elsewhere, but they use the Papa machines.
Correct.
So they haul all the machines. Why isn't it just held at the Papa facilities? Is it not big enough?
No, it's not big enough. So they
it's nowhere close to big enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when I think there was, how many people were at Papa? There might have been, 350, maybe 400, and it's a big facility, but there's not really good, I guess, spectator facilities or anything outside of you playing. So I think that's why they have it at this venue. So there's more room around the tournament. I guess that's the case, Colin.
Yeah. It's all of the above. But I think because obviously they can fit all of those pinball machines in the Papa facility. So it's not a matter of space for the pins. It's all the other things that go along with it. You don't have the spectator room. You don't have enough bathrooms. You don't have enough parking
out the front.
You don't have enough places to sit down to have something to eat. I mean, they were bringing in food trucks, and that we would overwhelm the food trucks with the amount of people. And in particular with Pinburgh, Papa is not as bad. It's because Papa, at least, everybody is kind of taking their own breaks as they go when they're not playing, because people are just constantly playing. They're getting in line and requeuing and playing again, and then they get, okay, fine, I'm going to take a break now and hang out with my friends for a while, or we'll go get in somebody's car and go get something to eat. Whereas with Pinburgh, you have designated slots where your facilities are going to get overwhelmed.
So Papa didn't happen this year because they are trying to sell the facility that all the pinball machines are in, right? But that hasn't.
That's what they've announced. Yes.
Okay, but it hasn't sold, so they probably could have run it, right? Like they were just thinking if it. Yeah.
No, but they. Oh, you mean the Papa World Championships? Yeah, they could have. But I mean, think about it. If you've got something on the market, you can't anticipate. And to their credit, I mean, I think it was Doug or Elizabeth was online talking about this. They couldn't, in good conscience, tell people, hey, yeah, we're going to run it, and then have all these people make travel plans from around the country, around the world, take their vacation, you get their vacation slots put in with their employers, and then suddenly, maybe a month or two in advance, go, oh, sorry guys, we've sold it, so now we can't hold it, but better luck next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So have they got another facility, or are they just going to look for one once it sells?
I have no idea.
Can you imagine just like just that stress of finding a place for 280 plus pinball machines within a short time? And maybe it doesn't happen. Everyone around Pittsburgh, just you're going to house a couple of pinball machines in your garage while we sort this out.
They go out on loan for a year. Right.
Well, they're really skilled at moving pinball machines now.
Yeah, they'd have to be.
Well, how do they move that many pinball machines?
A lot of people.
They hire a company.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
they hire.
company
They
comes-
hire. I don't know which moving company they hire, but no, absolutely. They hire a company to do a shuttle.
legs off, or do they
many,
just
many.
just leave the legs on?
I think someone who was talking about this previously. I don't remember if it was Doug or Mark Steinman or Bowen. I think they go legs on.
I can't imagine them lifting up and putting the legs on that many machines.
Yeah, I think they take them all legs on, and so they've got a contract that they've got with some company, and of course they supervise the obviously the loading, and I think it's probably I'm assuming, I don't know, but I'm assuming they would use the same company. And just like in my job, I'm part of my job is I manage the procurement team, and you have, when you develop a relationship with a vendor that does things the right way, then you can continue to use that vendor, and they know what they're doing. They know what their expectations are of how to treat the pins, and of course then it's I can't imagine the amount of work that goes into not just moving them, but once they get in the new place, then you have to re-level every single. Oh my gosh! I mean, you guys have, with your tournaments. I mean, the tournaments I've run. I mean, I think the maximum number of pins I've ever had to deal with is like in the 20s or maybe upwards of 30. And then to multiply that by 10, oh my gosh.
Well, because they have to get them all timed and get everything on a certain schedule. So it's a big undertaking, and I guess that's why a lot of people were really upset that Pinburgh sold out this year, and why can't we have more people? It's like, well, they need to make sure that it runs properly in small increments, right? Versus just saying, okay, it's now 1,000 people.
Correct. And they're doing things this year in preparation for future years where they want to make it bigger. So they're intentionally bringing on. I mean, one of the people that I met when I was out at the U.S. Nationals and the Pin Masters, I think is Tracy. She's from Arizona, and she's volunteering, and she's going to be one of the TDs, the new TDs at Pinburgh. And so you have people not just from the Pittsburgh area, but people that are coming from around the country to volunteer to be a tournament director at Pinburgh. And so that's what the core team there at Pinburgh is planning ahead for the future of training up, additional tournament directors and additional techs. So that way they hopefully then have the people capacity to handle a bigger event. And then it's just a matter of now they'll have to go and get more people to either sell to them at a nice price or to contribute, and set up pins and donate them to the weekend to be able to pull that off.
Because I mean, there are new guys. Do you think Houdini will be there? Do you have a strategy for Houdini, Colin?
I hope that it works. Meaning that the Houdinis I've played have both been in poor condition, sadly. And I mean, I don't know if it's just. Okay. I don't know if it's a function of the pin or if it's a function of the tech. But I mean, the one location I've been to multiple times in the Dallas area, they do a pretty reasonable job of keeping up. I think close to 40 pins now that they have at the location. And every time I've been there, they usually have a tech that's there that evening. And this last time I was there, just a week ago, the first time they had problems with Houdini, the curtain mech started smoking. and that wasn't part. That wasn't part of the show. That wasn't part of the show. Yeah. In this episode, Houdini will make the smoke start to rise, and then shoot the ramp twice, and then shoot through the smoke to score jackpot. So this past time I was there, and the curtain mech wasn't working at all, and sadly, the software was not well designed enough yet, or in its evolution yet, to compensate for it. So most the pins, the nice thing about a lot of these pins is that when something breaks down, the pin is smart enough. They've designed it well enough that, okay, the drawbridge, for instance, on Medieval Madness isn't working, let's say. Yeah. Well, they designed it so that way if you just continue hitting that shot, it will give you the credit for making progress, even though the drawbridge hasn't come down and you can't hit the gate. Or I've played other ones where the drawbridge is down permanently, and so then you'll be bashing the gate and you'll only be getting credit for moat shots until it's gotten to that point in the software where now you're the gate. Well, in this case, I was bashing the curtain like crazy and nothing's happening, and so I walked away because I'm not gonna. There's no point in playing the game if you can't,
Sure.
Yeah.
up the.
Well, we know that Josh is listening to the podcast, so Josh, let us know whether you've now compensated for the curtain not working.
Might be an old firmware.
Yeah.
Colin, do you do they disable certain mechs that are known for issues like that? Like every single Walking Dead that I've ever played, and now that I've got one myself, I mean that when the doors open up on the barn, if you touch with your finger that zombie, the switch is super sensitive. But for some reason, if you hit like the ball in the corner, kind of like between the face and the barn, it's this weird dead spot on all the Walking Deads that I play that it doesn't register the shot. So for my competition, I just close the just to disable the barn, and it just uses the opto, and it works perfectly 100% of the time. Do they do that on any of Do they do that in any of the Pinburgh games, or is it just as it is? This is the game. This is how you play it.
I don't know if I've played Papa's Walking Dead. I didn't play it last year in qualifying, so I don't know if they do that or not.
They would absolutely close it. From what I noticed of them, anything that has a bit too much of a randomizer, they'll try to make it as consistent as possible, right?
Well, except that they have Riverboat Gambler as one of their tournament
Well,
trends.
that is also true. Yeah.
Colin, are you ready to play a New Age Legend Cracked Ryan's Awesome Puzzle?
Are we doing this?
Yes. Yes.
Although I have
Marty,
won once.
you'll win, Marty, because Colin will have to look up his spreadsheet every single time. It'll give you like a 15-second buffer, right?
Yeah, that's still going to be better than what I know.
Marty, your call out is go for the
wall.
Colin?
Brickerus.
Brickerus?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to tell us the story behind that, Colin, quickly?
Oh, sure. It's my it's my fun little claim to fame on Iron Maiden. I was a couple, maybe last week or whatever, right when the 1.02 code came out, that Keith Elwin messaged me and said, "Hey, were you the one that said Flight of Brickerus when they were streaming from the Stern factory?" And he said, yeah, that was, I forget who was playing, but they had the Icarus mode, and they were bricking left and right. They couldn't hit either ramp shot, and so I put that in the text chat on Twitch, and so now that's been incorporated into the latest code. I still haven't heard it yet because I haven't had a chance to play Iron Maiden on 1.02 yet. So I'm looking forward to bricking all my Icarus shots so I can hear the content of the call out that I helped create. So
that's awesome. All right, so Brickerus and Go for the Wall. 10 questions worth 1 point each. Here we go. Number 1, in Medieval Madness, we're just talking about, there's a hurry up in the middle. How many hurry ups do you need to get the extra ball?
Brickerus.
Yes, go on.
10.
Correct. Number 2, Marty, come on, Marty. Iron Maiden. How many inserts on the playfield does Iron Maiden have? This is a multiple choice. 43, 56, or above 62?
Go for the wall. I'm going to say middle 56.
No, it's above 62.
Oh, Brickerus, above 62.
No, sorry. Okay, this one's really dumb. Okay.
No.
How many letters do you need to change on Star Trek to convert it into Shrek?
What?
Because you can convert Family Guy into Shrek. If you want to convert Star Trek, the name, into Shrek, how many letters do you need to change? Oh, gosh. Come on, guys. Guys refuse to answer. Colin got in first. Yes, Colin.
You have to change 4.
No.
5?
Wait. No, 4. Yeah, yep, 4. You're right. Yes, 4. Horrible question. Guy, come on. It was a late notice. Terrible. Okay. In The Walking Dead, hey, we've talked about all these games. This is good. In The Walking Dead, in what is the name of the mode where you visit the Center for Disease Control?
Brickerus.
Yes, Colin.
CDC.
CDC.
Yes.
That was a softball for you, Marty.
Yeah, I know. You bloody quick on the buzzer though. Jeez.
He's competitive, Marty.
Yeah, I can see he's right.
Okay.
It's because Marty. It's because it's middle of the day for you, so you haven't had any gin yet. And yet I've already had my my imperial. I've had my imperial IPA. So
exactly.
Okay. On Total Nuclear Annihilation, there's this brilliant part of the software where if you hit the mystery awards and it's cycling through all of the mysteries, it'll only show up or award you the mystery after it's shown it to you. And a lot of games don't do that. A lot of the games, like Simpsons, for example, you hit the garage and you see the extra ball light in your in lanes, and then it goes, mystery, what's it going to be? Extra ball. Okay, so name a Keith Johnson game that does the same thing as Total Nuclear Annihilation, where it awards it to you after it shows it to you and not before.
I'm going to say Lord of the Rings only because we played it last night.
Is there a mystery? Oh, yeah, no, there is a mystery. It's not the one I'm thinking of. It might be right, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be. This is one I'm thinking about that I want you to Colin.
Okay, Brickerus, World Poker Tour.
I don't know.
I'm just a complete guess. I have no idea.
So well researched.
What I'm looking for is Wizard of Oz. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. it might be in other games. You guys both might be right, but I just wanted to say, okay.
Thanks. Well done.
So wait, okay. So Wizard of Oz, it shows you that you've already earned the extra ball even before it gives you.
No, it's the same as TNA. So you get into the Wizard Scoop, and it'll say something like character spotted, and then the character will be spotted. It doesn't spot the character and then say, what's it going to be?
Oh, okay. Got it.
There's no mystery if it gives it to you before, if it's on the something. Anyway, just a little thing. Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, okay? 2 different pinball machines. But with the recent update, there is now a mode that is shared between them, the name.
There and back again.
Marty. Marty. Good job.
Very good.
Here's another Lord of the Rings question, Marty, that you might be able to answer.
Hey, Marty, how's your first play of There and Back Again going with your Hobbit pin?
Well, you know what? It would be the same if I actually had it. Non-existent. Would never have got there.
Too many modes. How many 2-way combos do you need in Kill the Witch King to finish the mode?
Brickerus.
Yes, Colin.
3.
Yes. Bonus. How many times did Ryan brick the last shot to finish that mode last night?
I think 3 times, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, but you finished it?
No, I hit 2 combos in a row and then hit that last. I'd have like 20 seconds to do the last shot and couldn't do it. Last question. Which top-ranked player last year traveled to Osaka, Japan, and won the monthly competition at the Silver Ball Planet against all the Japanese players?
I'll let you have it, Marty. Brickerus.
It was you, Colin. It was you.
Yeah.
So how did you enjoy your trip to Japan last year, and what can you tell us about the Silver Ball Planet in Osaka?
It was great. I was there. We have 2 plants in the Osaka, Japan area, and so I was there having meetings, and I thankfully was able to get off work in time to be able to go enjoy a little bit of the Silver Ball Planet because they closed really early in the evening. So early. Like 8 o'clock, I think. In the evening. Yeah. So I was able to go there at least one evening, and then it was I forget when it was, if it was 2016 or one of the last times I was there. I was actually over there over a weekend, and they had the monthly tournament the weekend I was there. So I played, and I messaged you this, Ryan, as well. But they are some of the most hospitable people in the world, and the players there. They were just amazingly hospitable. Half of them, more than half maybe, couldn't speak English. Of course, I can't speak Japanese other than, saying Ohio gozaimasu. I don't know Japanese. And so, but they're just incredibly hospitable, very nice people. They were also, it was a neat phenomenon. I've only seen it in Japan, but as we're playing in the finals, I think it was, I don't remember which game. It was a modern game where you can get multi-ball. but it wasn't like a modern Stern where where they sometimes hand out multi-balls like candy. And so maybe it was something like a game like Tommy, where it takes some effort to get multi-ball, but still there's a multi-ball that's available for everybody on ball 3. And everybody that's watching, as soon as you start multi-ball, everybody starts clapping. Clapping and cheering, and it's like, oh, this is it. And so I really hope that pinball around the world, not just in Osaka, Japan, can evolve to where we have more audience participation and people cheering on the players when they start multi-balls.
And not sitting behind them and cussing them and wanting them to train. Yeah. I wasn't there. I only spent an hour there, but just the people I kind of interacted with there were just some of the nicest pinball people pinball people are nice regardless, but you add the Japanese factor and it's niceness overload. But Colin, we've run out of time because Marty.
I've got to head out, so really do appreciate you coming on, and of course we get to continue this conversation in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I get to see you there. Like I said, if I had the only problem with trying to find somebody in Pinburgh is that it's a big, huge hall with lots of games. So
find my friends on iPhone, right? Find my friends.
Yeah. So if I happen to be around,
sure.
Then feel free to come over and ask me what the heck do I do on on hang glider.
Well, so look, you've got two options. Either I'm going to interrupt you every time I'm going to a game, or you can send me your list. Up to you. Your choice.
Bribe him, Marty. It's a lot of work. You got to offer him some money for it. Come on.
Well, you can have a head-to-head T-shirt. There you go. That's all I got. They're super limited edition.
Oh, yeah.
My gosh. We appreciate you taking your time out of your day to talk to us, and good luck at Pinburgh, and we hope to see you up on the stage to maybe do it 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so too. That would be just good to be up on the stage again. And it'll be fun to meet you, Marty. I met Ryan at TPF, so
sure.
now I can meet the other head.
Awesome. Look forward to it, man. See you then.
See ya.
See you, Benny.
So that was Colin MacAlpine, and let me tell you what I've learnt, Ryan.
You're fucked.
Fucked.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's exactly the summary of just what came out from that is there's a lot of thinking that goes into this tournament, right? And I don't know. I just don't have the patience for it, really, is what I'm getting at. So I'm just going to go for the flashing lights.
Isn't that funny how, like, the top players, they kind of study pinball, and if you're going for a job interview, Marty, you would study what the company was about. If you were doing anything in life that you really wanted to do, you would do it. But when it comes to pinball,
yeah, well, I'm not interviewing for 288 jobs.
No,
it's a little bit different, isn't it?
Well, what I'm trying to say is that, like maths, and you learn maths at school, like you had to do it. But
sure.
I think it's because people think of it as a hobby. They don't want to study it. They want to be naturally good at it. But as we kind of found out with Colin, and also with Keith taking all the pictures of his knuckles, and I mean everyone, Bowen, Josh, all the good players we've had on our podcast, they kind of study the rules, right? And they play an insane amount of pinball. So I don't know, if you want to be good, you have to put in the hours, right?
Yeah, again, I don't know whether I want to get that into it. I kind of want to enjoy it. I don't want to take it too seriously. As soon as I take it too seriously and I get defeated, I get down, and I'd rather it just be more of an enjoyable experience. And I guess the difference is that I'm traveling halfway around the world, so I want it to be overall an enjoyable experience. And after Pinburgh, I've then got a week of traveling around America, so I don't want to have some bad memories of when I completely fucked up a shot, or as I think I'm going to do, someone's going to come up to me and say, you had multi-ball lit. And I'm like, sure. Where? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know these games.
I enjoyed listening to the podcast without me on it. Stacey did a really good job, Marty.
Yes, thank you, Stacey, for coming on. That was great. Yeah,
lots of good feedback. While I was away, I did pick up a new sponsor, Marty.
Yeah, who's that?
Well, me and you are now recording in the Four Brothers Pale Ale studio because two brothers aren't enough.
No,
so we got
that's right. We got four brothers,
four sisters.
Yes,
as well.
Oh,
we don't want to be sexist.
No, we're sponsored by Four Pillars.
Oh, Four Pillars.
Gin.
Yep, that's the tanned ale instead of pale ale. No,
yeah, no,
it's something.
It's my gin of choice. So
there's nothing that goes down better while playing pinball than Four Pillars gin, right,
correct.
Marty?
That's exactly right.
You can't enjoy yourself unless you're drinking Four Pillars gin.
Yes.
Okay.
Four Pillars gin is fantastic.
Amazing. Okay, I just wanted to get that in there.
Okay, cool, good. That sounds good.
I listened to a lot of podcasts when I was traveling around on the plane and waiting in line and stuff. So there is a great new podcast that I was just making part of.
Special When Lit.
Special When Lit podcast. Yeah, they go pretty good. They interviewed Dwight Sullivan. It was a really great interview with him. I'm glad. He was pretty open about a lot of stuff. He did mention kind of like drop some kind of hints on what he's working on next, and it seems like he might be working on the Munsters, I think. He didn't say that, obviously. And I will link that in the show notes. People can have a listen. Okay.
Yeah, awesome. Well done, guys. Anyone that wants to do what we do and others like us, good on you, because it's more content is better. More, different perspectives on this hobby is also a great thing. So,
talking about different, that's a good segue. Different perspectives. The Joe Kamikawa interview. I don't think you talked about that much last week.
No,
got to be one of our most polarizing podcasts yet, because the amount of kind of feedback and conversation that was created because of that podcast was kind of unparalleled, right?
Yeah, it was certainly on all the different forums that we frequent. Each one of them it stirred up a conversation, whether it was about the license that's coming up. It's the Beatles, sure. Well, and it was like, I wonder what it is. It's like, guys, he was talking about this great license, and then all of a sudden started talking about Paul McCartney.
Well, people, it was like one of those things that people were like, well, it can't be that obvious, right? Yes, it was that obvious. Yeah. I guess the difference, I don't know. I had a lot of people saying it was the best interview we've ever done. Joe's the boss, this and that. And I had a lot of people saying, well, I don't like what his kind of, his message about we're going to make it limited. Like it's all about collecting and not about the quality of the game and this and that. But I mean, this is the thing that, you take a bit of a step back from pinball, as I have over the last, it's literally only like a week, right? But hey, okay, this is the difference. When I went to America and Canada, I was like surrounded by pinball. I was hanging out with pinball people. That was not a break from pinball. That was just a break from Australia, right? When I went to Japan, like the pinball was nowhere. There's no one there that gives a shit about pinball. So you take a little bit of a step back and you realize I don't know. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if a machine that is released, if you think it's the biggest piece of crap ever, it doesn't matter as long as somebody else wants to buy it, right? If they release the Beatles and it costs $20,000, and I mean, one of the hints that he dropped was that it's very classic pinball. Now, what does that mean, Marty? Very classic pinball.
Well, I know. Well, look, I know that that's a loaded question because you and I have spoken about it, and it's about whether this is going to be like a Woe Nelly or a Pabst Can Crusher, where it's a flat playfield, or a TNA, where it's not going to be ramps and mega rules. It's going to be sort of old school. Is that kind of what we're thinking? Yeah.
Well, he kind of, when you listen back to it, he put an emphasis on classic. Like that was like a very important thing that he could tell us. So, I mean, when I think classic, I think pre DMD. Now, I don't think they're going to release something that doesn't have an LCD, but as you said, the play field may represent something that isn't modern. So maybe that was part of the license. Who knows? Well, I mean, we'll see. Like next year, it's still pretty far away. But I just know that when it comes out, there's just going to be just the meltdown is going to happen, right? The Pinside meltdown.
Well,
Pinside Petey's going to be nuts.
Yeah, look, and I think really what it was it was quite, as you said, it was polarizing, because I think one of the comments he said was every pinball person wants this theme, and everyone's like, well, I don't want Beatles, so therefore it's not. Well, yeah, okay, fair enough. But
He's in sales, he's in marketing, like he wants to sell it, and that's that. If you were making a pinball machine, Marty, would you say, yeah, I think this will cater to 2% of the pinball market? No.
I think
it's a big theme.
An okay theme.
Yeah.
Most people probably won't like it, but some will like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when it comes out, people will say this is the worst thing ever. People say it's the best thing ever. It doesn't matter. As long as some people want it, then it's fine.
Well, it's going to come down to the art, first of all, because the first thing that we see with these things is how it looks. So, as long as the art, stacks up, so...
Is that it? Just art?
No pressure. No pressure on the art. No, what people will do is they'll look at the art and they'll go, oh, I hate it, or, oh, I love it. Then they'll go, oh, let's look at the playfield. It looks just like AC/DC, or it looks just like whatever, because people like to see familiarity in things that are new. So that's what's going to happen. But
if it's emulating an older machine, right, classic pinball,
sure.
Then what do people say about TNA? Oh, I'll buy it for $4,000, because that's what no ramps gives me. So the same thing is going to happen if that is. We're just speculating here. If I'm buying a machine with no ramps or something, or no no LCD, then why does it cost $12,000? It should cost $3,000.
Yeah, I kind of understand that to a degree, but the thing about TNA is not that it's flat and doesn't have ramps. It's the fact that it's got an incredible light show. Everything that you touch is RGB.
Hey, I'm not trying to speak logically here. I'm just saying.
No, I know.
The masses, the meltdown. This is what the meltdown is.
I know, but what I'm saying is that if people look at a simple playfield and it doesn't have the bells and whistles and the gimmicks, dare I say, if it's a bit like the Jetsons, then people will reject it and say, well, I'm not going to pay $25,000 for this super limited edition.
Guess what I got to play last week?
Did you play the Jetsons?
I played the Jetsons.
So can we quickly, I know it's going to be this week in pinball, but I'm really keen to know what you played at the Silver Ball Planet, because you went to Osaka in Japan, and you did a video on our Facebook page of all the machines that were there, and there was really three games that stood out that I really wanted to know. And you absolutely know the number one game I want to know feedback on. Yes. What is it?
The Rolling Stones.
Yes!
Well, Marty, I'm very disappointed, Marty. You said you've got a list of average games that you want as your fourth pin, as the rotating door pin.
Yes.
And it's a super cheap Rolling Stones came up, and it's it's like literally 10 minutes away from us.
Yep.
And you didn't even call. Nothing.
No, because it's a terrible game, but I want to know what you thought of it.
Okay. Well, keep in mind, this is after about a week or over a week of not seeing or playing any pinball machine, and that is the longest.
You're setting me up because you probably enjoyed it.
There hasn't been a week that I haven't played pinball in like 4 years, right? Like it just haven't, right? So almost every pinball was a good pinball there, except for Gottlieb's Mario Brothers. I walked away. When I got an extra ball, I got upset and I walked away. Like, I don't want an extra ball. I don't want to be playing this shit. I got 1 hour to play as many machines as I can, and you're taking up too much of my time.
That's how bad a game is when you get the shits when you get an extra ball or extra.
It was on the first ball. I got an extra ball. I'm like, nah. I've spent 2 minutes on the machine.
It's a terrible game. It's awful.
Anyway, so Rolling Stones. This was, I believe. Have you ever seen? Of course you haven't, because you don't go through the menus and stuff. But have you ever seen the option? I think it's on Sam and White Star machines. It's like UK novelty post enabled or disabled.
Sure.
Yes?
No.
So I think in the UK or some countries, it's like illegal to sell pinball machines without the ability to save the ball in the outlanes. Did you know about this, Marty?
No.
So some machines that get exported have holes drilled in like the start of the outlane, and there's an extra button next to the flipper, and you can press it, and it's a post that goes up for a split second and then goes down. And you can do it as many times as you want, right? It's like unlimited ball saves.
Right.
And this machine had it, and I had so much fun.
No.
just wait. I had so much fun saving my ball. The actual game, I mean, I got into album multi-ball, and I don't know. I didn't play. I played 2 or 3 games on it. I got a couple of free games. I don't know enough about it to say that it's shit, because I just look at that and I look at like Avatar, which you love, and I'm like, well, it has an extra ramp that Avatar doesn't have, right? Yes, it has that stupid Mick on a stick. You know, he moves too fast. That's what it is.
Yeah,
he moves
no, I know.
fast, and,
Yeah.
and it looks cheap, right?
But it looks cheap, and he gets in the way of every shot that you're going for.
Well, I was kind of going for him to start album multi-ball,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Well, if you're going to go for him, you're going to hit him, because that's what happens. But if you're going for anything else...
The call-outs were okay. I'm sure it's a turtle game, but like I wasn't disgusted by it.
Okay, I guess we probably had really, like, you know, when some things get overhyped, I think we'd overhyped how bad this is. So you were expecting it to be absolutely the worst, so
No.
anything's going to be better than that.
Okay, if you hated Avatar, then I would say, yeah, it's a piece of crap. But you love Avatar so much that I'm like, well, put this side by side with Avatar, and is one really that much worse than the other?
No,
Maybe a little bit, right? If you dive deep into it, maybe Avatar's a better game, like, you know, a 6 versus a 5 out of 10. But it's not like Avatar's a 9 and this is a 2.
no. So what I think about Rolling Stones is I actually quite like the layout. I don't mind the art. I don't mind the sound. I don't like the rules. Pretty simple of its time. But as I've said, like and remember, I went to Papa and I played this, and my God, there are 2 of these in Pinburgh. 2 of them.
Okay.
Just let that sink in. Of the 288 machines that are going to be at Pinburgh, 2 of them are Rolling Stones. And I played them a lot. I played it so much because I wanted to enjoy the game. And there is a game there somewhere, but that Mick on a stick just kept getting in the way of everything that I was trying to do. So, and
I should ring that guy and ask him if it's still available.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to ring him right now.
Okay.
This is not a setup bit. I messaged him last night for you, and actually asked if Mustang's still available, which is the wrong one. He's not going to answer his phone. This is great podcast content. He's not going to answer his phone.
Hi, the person you have called is not available.
All right.
Hi. No?
What else did I play? I played Stargazer. Amazing game.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Just the most gorgeous game to look at in person.
No, but so we were talking before. So, because there was 2 other games that I'd never played before that I wanted to know that you played. One was Jetsons, and the other, another spooky pinball, was Dominoes.
Ah, okay. I played Dominoes previously at Expo 2016, and it's code infancy back then, and I walked away from that because of the sounds that the slings were making or something just irritated me so much. I walked away. That and Pav's Can Crusher. So I didn't want to. I literally had.
You didn't have much time, right?
This is the thing. I was in Osaka for two days, and the first day I thought they closed at like 10. So I was like, okay, after the kids go to sleep, I'll head down. I want to kind of cut into family time, and then I realized that they close in an hour. In an hour and a half. It's going to take me half an hour to get there. I was like, no, I'll do it tomorrow after we went to Universal, because the kids would be conked out by like 2 p.m. Go when it opens. The kids just had the best time ever at Universal Studios. And by the time I got back to the hotel, I had the exact same amount of time, an hour and a half to get there. So it took me half an hour to get there. I spent an hour there, 6 minutes, making that stupid video, 2 minutes playing, Mario. So yeah, I was like running around like a headless chook. I was just like, what do I play? What do I play? I'm like, maybe he'll stay open a little bit longer. Like maybe it's a soft close at 8, but if it's really pumping, he'll stay open longer. Literally at like, 8 on the dot, he comes up to me and says like, closing. And I looked around and everyone had left. Like there were so many people in there before, and Japanese people are so respectful. They're just like, all right, it's closing time. Let's get out of here. at 30 seconds past 8, the shutter doors were down and all the machines were off, and I was like, oh, so sad. Anyway, Jetsons. I think I played 2 or 3 games on the Jetsons, and it wasn't set up right. The orbits, which is where you want to get orbity or whatever it is, if you hit the orbit really well, the metal bracket, that the metal guide, was angled so that it would literally go straight down the middle. So you couldn't say. I was like, I couldn't shoot it. I mean, it shoots well, but it's so fast. It's almost like, I don't know. This has been said before about the machine, that people have played a couple of games on it. It's meant for a kind of newbie audience, but it's set up extremely kind of fast and brutal. Like I think they've got the same like powered flippers as there is on like AMH and probably Rob Zombie, where they're very, very strong. Yeah. So blink and the ball is gone. The shots are okay. I just I don't really know much about the software or anything with how deep it is. Yeah. How much do you learn about a game in 5 minutes, Marty? Not much.
No, I mean, I as you know, I know bugger all about a game that I've been playing for hours. So 5 minutes, nothing.
Stargazer, yeah. I probably spent half an hour of that hour on Stargazer.
Yeah, okay.
So, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing either, but it's got 3 spinners, Marty. 3 spinners. 3 spinners.
How many spinners has it got?
It's blue, Marty. My favorite color. I hate green. I love blue. My favorite color. And
how's that Quicksilver going?
I keep on forgetting that I have it, Marty. I need No Good Gophers gone so that I can bring it in my house. But there's another pin coming, Marty. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Should we get back to the news? A bit of a detour. Hey, the how we were teasing. What were we teasing? The Monster Bash remake exclusive features.
Yes.
I want to tell people what it is. So Dwight Sullivan has got a side job at CGC, and you know how the Phantom Flip doesn't work very well? It's the number one complaint about Monster Bash, right? Yeah. So they've got Phantom Flip working so well, they don't want it to be just 2 shots per Phantom Flip. So you can stack it, and you can kind of use up a button. There's a button on the lockdown bar. You can get up to 40x Phantom Flip, and when you set that up, Marty, the machine just plays itself. You set up 40x Phantom Flip, you let it go, and you pretty much get into wizard mode that way. There you go. Head-to-head exclusive.
There it is, guys. So,
yes.
That's
3 out of 10. That joke is 3 out of 10.
Yeah. Is that actually what's happening, or are you just making that up?
Of course I'm not. I'm just fucking around.
No.
There's no news, Marty. There's no news, okay?
No, well, there is. Well, the subtlety of it is code's being worked on, surely, with Monster Bash, right? Yeah, so he doesn't want to say anything, but and again, it's one of those things where we read out when we get emails where people give us a bit of a paragraph, and obviously when they tell us how amazing we are, that's going to get read out. But that comment as well got so many people sending in messages, either directly or via email, saying, "What is it that they're changing on Monster Bash?" So it's there's a lot of demand.
It's what I heard is probably absolute bullshit. So. I don't want to say it because I don't want to hurt face.
You obviously you missed last week's speculation, but speaking of bullshit that we get told, but we can laugh about it, and then all of a sudden, a message from wherever Stern is saying we now can do all these machines. You just never know.
Marty, Comic-Con in the US, when is it happening?
Oh, soon.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know when Comic-Con in Australia is happening, let alone the US.
Yeah, I don't know the date, but apparently people are speculating that would be a good time to release Deadpool, since Deadpool is a comic and it's Comic-Con. Comic-Con convention,
I see
right?
What Comic-Con is about now, yep.
So, where's the main Comic-Con? Is it in San Diego?
I have no idea. Would you like me to look
I'm jumping on the website now. Yeah, let's do it. Fuck it.
San Diego?
Otherwise, yeah. Loading.
It is loading. Jeez.
Fuck, if I had a website with a massive event, the date of the event would just be in a big font. Okay, here we go. July 19th to 22nd. That's this weekend.
It's this weekend.
Okay, do you think Deadpool... Nah, is it too soon? I don't know.
I don't know either, but, I mean, we're due for an announcement. Well, when was it that they announced on that the stream that the name of the next machine was Iron Maiden? How long ago was that? Surely that was 3 months ago.
Well, we figured it out. Well, I posted it on Pinside. I can't remember what it was, but we're pretty much right in the middle now if they were to announce, the speculated monsters at Expo. But I think they're going to, I think Joe Kamikawa said their next machine is after Expo, probably. Yep. Who knows? I don't think Stern even know when they're going to release certain machines. All their dates are floating anyway. So
yeah, it's got to be when it's revealable, right? And if they're going to reveal something at Comic-Con, they've got to have the machines actually there. And also to do with their, if they're making a crap load of Iron Maidens, they wouldn't announce Deadpool. But if they're not selling a lot of Deadpools, they might announce the next machine earlier as well. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
They want to make the maximum amount of pinball machines every year.
Yep, absolutely.
Shall we head to the only bit of news this week, really, the Dutch Pinball news, Marty?
The hilarious news. Is that what you're talking about?
So funny.
It is just, I've got to tell you, I've gone from being really, really indifferent about Dutch pinball. Like, really indifferent. Couldn't give a shit. Yeah, Lucas, blah, blah, blah. But, I couldn't give a shit. I played it, so whatever. Not bothered. Make it, don't make it. Could not give a shit, Ryan. Could not give a shit. So indifferent. They shit me to fucking tears now. They really do. And this Seattle 7, just...
Who are these Seattle 7, Marty? Why aren't they... It's Barry and Yao. Come on. It's fucking Barry and Yao. It's comical. Like, Comic-Con. They need to go to Comic-Con. Just go, by the way, it was all a big joke. It's just a freaking comic. No, it's a comedy. So we did post up a video on our Facebook page that's been announced. So this is really the precursor. It's been removed, Marty. It's been removed. Yep. Had copyright content on there. They can't do that shit.
Oh, really?
I hope someone saved it.
So this was really much that. So the Seattle 7 put a video together where they pretty much took lots of clips from the Big Lebowski film, and it was really talking about the GoFundMe campaign. How much money are they wanting to raise, Ryan?
About $350.
$350 what? $3.50?
How about $350,000, Marty? Would that be enough?
300 and really what it was.
It was 500,000. It's €500,000.
Right.
That's how much they want. Euro.
So, as I said, going from indifference to now, let's call it mild hatred at this stage. But remember we sort of, you mentioned it as well about, why do they have to keep coming back to the pinball community to bail them out? And all this video did was talk about, these poor guys, they were the heroes. They were doing this for you and for me, and these nasty bad people. Oh, they're bad. Oh, angry fist. They are bad people. These are good people. A massive injustice has happened to them, and only you can right this wrong by giving us money. Might as well
giving us $500,000.
Might as well be a fucking evangelist. Give us $1 million, you're going to go to heaven. That was kind of the.
Why don't we set up a GoFundMe, Marty?
I'm going to set up a fuck me. Is what I'm going to set up. Go fuck me. You can give me money, and I'll just go fuck me. It made me laugh.
Do you think we could raise enough money to fly us over to the Netherlands and just slap Barry and Yap in the face with a glove? Ryan, just like, good day, sir, and just slap him in the face.
That's what we need to do. it'd be like you guys will set up a GoFundMe. You can give us money, and all we're gonna get off the plane. We're gonna have leather gloves, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off our leather gloves, and then we're just gonna slap them across the face and go.
We'll buy a rug, all right? We'll set up the rug. I'm like, hey, look, it's a big Lebowski rug. It's hilarious. It ties the room together.
Yep.
Stand on the fucking rug, guys. You do Barry, I'll do Yarp, and that's the end of the saga. That's how it's gonna end.
That's it. We're just gonna go. No, just fuck off.
€500,000, Marty. If it was $500,000 Vietnamese dong, that's 29 Australian dollars. I'd give it to him. Just
you give him dong.
Fuck off. Yeah, I give him dong. I would not give him my dong. I would not destroy their ring. I don't know what else there is to say about this, except it's past the point.
It's insulting. It's insulting. It's insulting because it was put up, and as I said, it was these guys, they had a dream. Oh, a dream. And these nasty people. It's like, no, they didn't pay for their fucking machines. So it's...
Okay, and what I think that if you donate €20, which I don't even know where they put that there, because, how many people do you need at €20 to get to €500,000 GoFundMe? But I believe, the GoFundMe's work, like, if you raise, like, $1, you will still get that $1. Yeah. Unlike Kickstarter, where if you don't reach your goal, you don't get anything, right?
Right.
So that $500,000? $500? They will get that. The funny thing is in there, as the independent group, the Seattle 7, it says, oh, hey, if you don't have a credit card and you have PayPal, you can just send your donations to like Dutch at DutchPinball.com, or donations at whatever it is, PayPal at DutchPinball.com, which is like the Dutch Pinball PayPal address. So, if it's not them, then who is it? It's them.
I don't know, but oh dear. I just want to go back to a place where I don't care. So what I do want to tell you, I don't know whether you've looked, but so far in 3 days, of their €500,000, do you know how much they've raised?
Was it about €500?
€750.
Ah, it's gone up. There's more people. Don't we see? We're contributing to them donating. Marty, did you know that every €20 donation has a chance at winning one of the 15 dudes cars, or one of 10 translites, or winning a real Big Lebowski pinball machine that probably doesn't exist, right?
No. What I can tell you is that 11 people have donated, and only one person has put their name to it.
Well, let's not name and shame.
No, we're not. But
hey, you can do whatever you want with your money.
No, that's exactly right. We're not going to shame these people. Smart. That is fine. But, as I said, the thing that I took umbrage, yes, I said it, umbrage with, is that it was pulling at the heartstrings of all the pinball people, and haven't they done enough? Have they just not done enough, Ryan?
That's the worst thing about it. That's really our only news piece of the whole week.
Yeah,
it's just Dutch pinball being dickheads.
I know. Well, I was very keen to know about your trip to Japan, and in particular the Super Bowl.
I can keep on going on that. We'll do that in This Week in Pinball.
Yep. Okay.
I'll talk for an hour about Japan. How about that?
Okay, that would be amazing.
Okay.
So, shall we then just do our Slam the Top 100?
Yeah. Ran out of time to do it with Colin. Sorry, Colin. How'd you go last week with Stacey?
Yeah, absolutely killed him.
Slaughtered him?
Not really.
What did Colin say in the interview? I like what he said. I'll take you out for. What did he say? Like when you're playing Game of Thrones, if you do this, if you like play multi-ball expecting to beat me, I will something. It sounded really condescending. I fucking loved it. I want to do it to you.
I can't remember that interview was hours ago. Yes, I did get 55% of the vote.
Huge margin. Huge.
So it's obviously not. But Twilight Zone versus Theatre of Magic. It's what you've got is you've actually got a game that, like with Twilight Zone, a lot of people love Twilight Zone, and then there's a portion of people that hate Twilight Zone, and really not much in between. And with Theatre of Magic, it's actually a very well-loved game all round.
I own a Twilight Zone, Money.
Hmm.
I owned it for a lot longer than I had Theatre of Magic. Theatre of Magic, it shoots amazing. It's just, I was a wizard mode hunter back then, and that's all I did, just get to the wizard mode, and that's it. And when you get to the wizard mode on Theatre of Magic, like, it's just crap. So I was like, okay, this machine sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I sold it. But, you know, I played it again like a year later, because there aren't many around in Melbourne, and it's just a fun game. It just shoots like a dream, and it's just fun. Great call-outs. The rope is breaking! All right, so we should do it this week?
Yes, we should.
Okay. Please generate a number from 0 to 100.
Coming right up.
This is my number.
33.
The Hobbits. Wow.
Nice.
Please generate a number from 0 to 100.
All right. 1.
Ah, you fuck. Attack from Mars is now number 1. Have we done Attack from Mars yet?
I'm just looking now through our list. No, we haven't.
I give up. I fucking give up. Oh, come on. Nothing can go up against Attack from Mars.
Right.
All right, let's do it. You have to go first, Marty.
Okay.
Just get over and done with, all right?
All right. So, should I really put everything into this, or should I just be really blasé because to try and even it out? What do you think?
I'm gonna slam it. I
Okay.
know this machine back. I'm gonna slam the horrible artwork, Marty.
Okay. But it doesn't have horrible artwork. Attack from Mars has got... Okay, I'm going to start. Attack from Mars has got amazing artwork. I'll tell you what it is about Attack from Mars. It is the best of everything. It has got a really, really good layout. It's got fantastic art. It's got amazing call-outs. But one of the best things that it's really got going for it is fantastic humour. It's got a great light show. It's got an amazing rule set. And it's one of these games where... It's a great home game, and it's also a great tournament game. So good, in fact, that they decided to remake it. So good, in fact, that it is now currently number 1 on the Pinside Top 100.
Why don't you own it, Marty, if it's so good?
Because it's so expensive.
You just bought an Iron Maiden, Marty. That's even more expensive. Come on, Marty. Stop lying to all the people out there.
No, I do love it. Of all those games of the Bally Williams of that era... I absolutely love Attack from Mars.
All right. The Hobbit. Keith Johnson's follow-up to one of the greatest games of all time, Lord of the Rings. What can you say about it? It's a wide body. If you set it up wrong, you can say, oh, it's floaty. Oh, this game sucks. Wide bodies suck. Just jack up the legs, you dickheads, okay? It's an amazing game, okay? You like Medieval Madness 2 Trolls? Bam. Double it. 4 Trolls, okay? Double it. You like the Fishtails ramps? Bam. Let's get rid of that plastic shit. Beautiful steel, laser engraved ramps. You like the staging magnet that can't hold the ball when you hit it really fast? I got it for you. You like Smaug talking to you and oh my god, Smaug's voice, Marty. I will show you. What does he say? Revenge. It's so good, Marty. How many modes does it have? 31. More modes than you can poke your stick at. They're all amazing modes, especially the One Ring, where you hit that one shot for the One Ring. The bait. Oh, the bait is so good. You get like 2 trolls that pop up that block the shots. You have to hit the opposite shot, and then it's like a hurry up, and it's just an amazing game. You've got 3 Arkenstone modes. Like those Arkenstone modes, Marty. Each one of them are more detailed. And the cinematic experience...
Surely a minute has been done. Like, how long do I actually have to listen to this shit?
We don't... You bought it, Marty.
I sold it.
The cinematic experience, Marty, in those modes, and there's 3 of them, is better than almost all the other Wizard modes combined.
Okay.
I give you the Hobbit.
Great. Thank you. So I'm actually not going to bag out the Hobbit too much because... I actually really do like the game, and I'll tell you the good things about it. The artwork is stunning. To look at, the game is amazing. The call-outs are fantastic. The roar of that voice is fantastic. But Attack from Mars is just a much, much better game in so many ways. Fast, snappy gameplay with shots that are just so incredibly satisfying, and so many of them. It's challenging. There's a lot of risk reward. There's video mode. Come on. And there's those little Martians. Attack! Best game ever.
It sounds like you're getting deeper into money.
That's right. Same thing.
Okay. Attack from Mars. One of the worst artwork.
Number one.
What'd you say? Number one. The worst artwork on a playfield of the 90s Bally Williams era.
It's number one.
Yep. Boring fan layout. Two orbits, 2 ramps, and a center shot. Wow. Really creative. Brian Eddy. Really just... oh, God. Just hit up the center. That's all you need to do, Marty. Just hit up the center, and you get a shitload of points. There's no risk rewards. It's a poor man. Lyman Sheets followed up with Medieval Madness, which is incredibly superior, to Attack from Mars with better artwork, better callouts, and better rules.
I'm actually just going to let you go now. Just keep going. I actually want you to go as long as you can.
So you know how like John Borg makes like Kiss, and he's like, shit, I fucked that up. I'm gonna make Aerosmith and make it even better. That's what Attack from Mars is. Attack from Mars is Brian Eddy's mistake.
So why is it number one? Because it's now number one. So it's obviously that
it's just a big circle jerk. It's just everyone's just like, it's Medieval Madness is just, it's not as good as Attack from Mars. Attack from Mars is the better one because Medieval Madness you can always shoot the center. Whereas Attack from Mars you can't always shoot the center.
That's fine. Okay.
Yes.
Let's say Medieval Madness is a better game.
Yes.
Let's talk about The Hobbit. That's what you're comparing it here. This isn't a straw man argument. You are now talking about The Hobbit versus Attack from Mars. Let's bring it back to that.
Keith Johnson versus Lyman Sheets. Keith always wins, all right? Keith. I know you're listening, Keith. I got your back.
Give us a free penny. Thanks.
Yeah. I don't think he's in charge of that, but
yeah, sure.
He hasn't voted in any one of our Keith. If you're listening out there, please log into Facebook and vote for The Hobbit. And Lyman can vote for... No, it's not going to happen. I got to try, Marty. I got to try.
No, you got to go. And you know what? That's why I actually don't think I said really anything bad about The Hobbit. I actually loved the game when I had it. I got to say I don't miss it because I know Iron Maiden is coming. But...
You could go play mine on site, Marty, for just $2 a pop.
Yeah, well, there you go. Because it's on site, I know I can play it when I need to.
I've got to update it. Update happened when I was overseas. Anyway.
So there you go. So what else can we talk about, Ryan? Well, shall we do This Week in Pinball?
When are we doing the contest, Marty?
After This Week in Pinball.
Okay. What did you get up to this week, Marty, in pinball?
Really not much. Except last night. Last night, I had a moment.
Okay.
Where something I didn't understand, I then understood.
Oh, gosh. You really didn't understand it. Is this the gifts from the elves?
This is Lord of the Rings. Like, the entire game... It's not like I'm going to be even more shameful by saying this, because I say that I don't know rules because I just don't have the patience. I've got ADHD. I've just got to look, where's the flashy light, and I'm in there. Like, when you talk to me and you're trying to explain things to me, I'm tuning you out going, can't you just shut up? I just want to start the game and play it. When I bought my car, the car that went into the ditch, the woman said to me, I need to go through and tell you about the safety features. And I just went, sorry, I actually just want to drive my car away. And so I did. And then 2 weeks later, a warning light came up and I rang her and she said, yeah, that's what I was going to tell you about. I'm that kind of person that could not give a shit. So I really didn't know much about Lord of the Rings.
What was the warning light? You can't just... What was the warning light?
I honestly can't remember what it was. So many years ago. Anyway.
You still don't care. You still don't care about it.
No, I still don't care. Like, I'm the guy that drove a BMW into a ditch. Do you think I give a shit?
Okay.
And even that was, if you do look back to that moment, you realise it's because I just didn't have any attention span at all.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you something even worse than the fact that I didn't know about the gift of the elves.
Okay. What was that, Marty?
I didn't know about modes.
What the fuck, Marty?
I know how to get the 3 multi-balls. That's it.
Okay.
But in my defense, as I've said many times, I've really not played Lord of the Rings all that much.
But there's a big insert that says mode start, and you shoot up the middle and it starts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Okay. Well, anyway, do you like Lord of the Rings, Marty? This is literally like, let's transport our podcast back to 2000 and whatever when it came out.
Yeah, I know.
Let's review Lord of the Rings.
But I always thought that I would like to have played Lord of the Rings more because I felt that there was this amazing game that I just didn't get. Okay. And I got it last night. It's everything. I want this game.
You can borrow mine if you want.
Okay, deliver it tomorrow.
Oh, you're going overseas, so no.
Okay. Right, which I'm not. Potential burglar.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You've been mentioning it for like fucking forever. I think that's why I didn't tell anyone. At TPF, I was just like, "Yeah, I'm going to TPF for like 6 months straight."
Yep. No
one knew I was going to Japan, but Marty, nobody.
No, that's right. No, but look, and that's I was going to get rid of all my machines, and I thought, no, I've actually got somebody mine in my house. They've got 2 machines here; they can play with those. But yeah, so back to Lord of the Rings. Yes, love it. I just love the depth of it. I know, yes, obviously getting to Valinor is really difficult, but getting to see a lot of cool stuff is really accessible.
Cool stuff along the way, like it's a long journey, Marty. Like
like you're delivering a ring to something.
To a mountain. They should have just jumped on those eagles and just fucking flew over and chucked it in.
I know. Or someone just could have used fucking transporter magic. Boom, we're there,
What's transporter magic? Does that exist in
Star Trek magic? Yep.
Okay. Does it exist in the Lord of the Rings world?
I don't know. Maybe they haven't learned.
This is not Harry Potter, Marty.
Oh, I'm thinking the Flu Network. Yeah, of course. Right. Yep. Mm-hmm. Or apparating.
The sounds. Stuff. The sounds are so freaking good on Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
Like Destroy the Witch King. Like how nervous it was getting me when I was on that third combo. Man, I love it. It's like if I could just play like that one mode. I know it's just like a stupid mode, but it's just done perfectly. Like each mode is just done really well.
That's what we were saying. Like what it actually really does, it does light and shade. There, I've said it. The contrast, because you can then be the pleasant music and you're doing all that kind of stuff, but as soon as something happens, the music just starts elevating and getting louder and more urgent, and that's what puts you off playing the game, because you get all of a sudden your heart rate's going. It's like this music's pumping, and it's like what?
Just like Destroy the Ring. How I told you how easy it was, and then we got in there and we failed the first 4 times, and it's just like melting the witch. The first time you do it, it makes you so nervous for no reason, because it's just like it wants you to get nervous.
That's right. And like I kept saying to you, like, is this timed? And you're like, no, but it makes it sound like it's timed.
Yeah.
So hilarious.
And my question to Keith Johnson that I forgot to ask him on the podcast is, when you're in multi-ball, you have no idea what's going on in modes because there's only one insert. So was that a conversation that you had with George Gomez when you were creating the machine? Or was it just something that you had to go with because George didn't put an extra insert in there? The other, because the Hobbit covers that. It has the mode insert and the jackpot insert, right? The insert in the scrolls and then the pointy arrow. And the other one is that how come there's only 6 inserts for the Gifts of the Hours when you need more than that to get into Valinor? Why didn't he just make it 6? I mean, I guess maybe have you read the Lord of the Rings books, Marty?
No, I've seen the movies.
Okay, I don't remember the gifts from the elves in the movie. Must be something to do with the book.
Elves, and maybe they had gifts.
3 gifts: frankincense, myrrh, and I think that's what it was.
And the other one,
something.
Frankenstein. Mm-hmm.
Did you do anything else this week, Marty?
No, that was pretty much it. Except just that I obviously have been told that I am getting my Iron Maiden, and it's being delivered tomorrow.
Oh, Marty, can I come over to your house and play it?
No, you can't, Ryan. But can we go over to your place and play it?
What? I get a free Iron Maiden? What? You're the fucking best, Marty. Whoop, 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 whoop.
See, this is how freaking amazing I am. because I am having them ship my Iron Maiden LE directly to your house so you can play it while I'm away. Oh my God, I'm amazing.
Thank you very much, Marty. I owe you a Lord of the Rings for that.
No, but it was one of those things where honestly, I just thought if it was just sitting at my home doing nothing, then that's, depriving people that could be enjoying it. So there you go.
Thank you. I will look after it. I will play it a lot.
Yep.
I will make sure I don't break it. And
we will stream it as well.
Yes, I think tomorrow we go, if it arrives tomorrow, because TNT aren't always the most reliable with their estimates.
Yep.
We're going to film an unboxing, because unboxings are just super duper interesting. Taking stuff out of a box.
People have been asking for them. And for those people, I know people listen that wanted to come along to the unboxing. If it was happening at my house, you would all be welcome. But somebody else's house, sick child. So, that's, just minimising it. So when I come back, I'll have everybody over.
Cool. Marty,
Mm-hmm.
This week I tried to buy a Grand Prix.
Yes. How'd that go for you?
I was in Japan when I was talking to the guy, and he was being really nice, and I was kind of asked for more pictures, and there's a bit of wear, and I said, can you do it for this price? And he's like, no, but, pay this price, and it's yours. That was his words. I'm like, okay, I'm cool with that price. I'll pick it up, tomorrow, because I was back in Australia the next day. And then he said, can you pick it up on Saturday? A bit busy tomorrow. And then he relisted the thing up wanting full price, I'm guessing, and I borrowed a friend's ute, withdrew the cash, and was literally about to drive there 10 minutes away from leaving, and he messaged me and he was really upset, saying, how dare you, blah blah blah, you should be paying full price for it because that's how much it's worth, and this and that. I'm like, hey dude, you're the one who offered it me for this price. And it was a bit of to and fro. If I said, hey, I'll pay the price for it, I could have just went and got it. But it was more of a, I don't know. When someone says, hey, Marty, would you want an Iron Maiden for $10,000? Oh, wait a second. No, it's $15,000. You can't buy it at $15,000. It just doesn't make sense.
No,
so, yeah, he sold to somebody else, and that was Grand Prix. So I could have bought an EM this week, but Marty, I don't need any more fucking pinball machines.
You really don't.
I don't know what I'm doing. I just, Anyway.
You're addicted, obviously.
Yes, I've got a problem.
You've got a problem.
Okay. Yep. I went to Japan this week, Marty.
Yes,
and last week. Yep. It was really fun. I'm not going to sit there and detail what I did on each day of the trip. That would be super boring. But I would like to talk about Japan for a little bit. And this is pretty much not pinball related, but it's interesting. Have you been?
No, I haven't. I've really wanted to go.
Okay. Well, let's see if I can make you want to go and not want to go. So.
Okay.
The entire country, Marty, because I went everywhere, is super duper clean.
Yep.
But you never see any bins. When you have a piece of rubbish in your hand and you're trying to find a bin, it is so frustrating because it's. I mean, if it was a super dirty place, you'd just be like, here, more dirt. But you littering there is you just never ever do it. Not that I would do it normally, but bins are hard to find.
Okay.
Japanese people, Marty, they like to wrap everything in plastic. Everything.
Right. Okay.
They're obsessed with wrapping stuff. If you buy a Happy Meal, Marty, all right, at McDonald's, they will get the Happy Meal box, okay? They will put it inside. They kind of fold up the box, wrap it in plastic, okay? Then they put the cheeseburger outside of the box. They put that in a McDonald's bag, and they give you a plastic bag on top of that to carry your McDonald's bag. Why? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, why? There is no reason for that.
They're obsessed. We got our laundry done at a hotel, and they wrapped. I accidentally left a headband in there, and they wrapped the headband around and put a rubber band around it as well, double wrapped it. It's bizarre. The public transport there is amazing. If you catch a taxi, you got to be a millionaire. It's just trains and stuff everywhere. If you miss a train, you're waiting 3 minutes tops for the next train. So no one's running for trains. There are Japanese schoolgirls, Marty, everywhere, but not many Japanese schoolboys. Where are all the Japanese schoolboys, Marty? That's what I want to know. And just a little side story, which just the Japanese schoolgirls remind me of this. Have you ever watched like a crazy Japanese show where all the Japanese people are going crazy and they're like, ah, like they're just screaming Japanese obscenities and then like, like zooming in and out and it's just like meant to be stupid on purpose?
No. I can honestly say I've never seen anything like that.
Okay, I went to Universal Studios and they had this thing called the Minions Snow Fight, and it was literally like like blue versus red, and just you sit in the middle of it, and it's these minion people, and I felt like I was in a Japanese movie because they were going absolutely insane, playing like crazy music, but it lasted for like 5 minutes, and they're having a water fight and a snow fight, and after it finished, I looked around me and everyone was soaking wet. And half of them were Japanese schoolgirls. I thought it was a very weird and surreal moment in my life. I'm like, where am I? Like, what just happened? Was I in a TV show? And why are they? Anyway, seeing an overweight Japanese person, Marty, is like spotting a unicorn. They don't exist. Besides sumo wrestlers, obviously, which I didn't get to see any. Right. They walk everywhere, and their food is like not fatty. That it's just all carbs. I don't know, impossible to see. Japanese shop attendants, if you have OCD like me, Japanese shop attendants tick all the boxes because the way they hand you things and place things in like plastic bags and hand you back money, it's like they go to school for a year to do it, Marty. And this might sound stupid, but once you go there, you'll know what I mean. Okay. There are no benches to sit on in Japan, Marty.
I don't know when you're going to get up to the bit where I'm going to enjoy and want to go to Japan because it sounds awful so far.
Really?
Yeah.
It's quirky. Okay, there's no benches in. I'll get a good
like, where am I going to put my chewy? Yeah. That's all. Like you stopped me there. I'm like, I'm panicking now. I'm thinking I've just got this chewy, and when a chewy gets to that stage where it's lost all its flavor and it's there, you're thinking I've got to get this out of my mouth, but I can't.
Can't find
it.
A bin.
There's no bin.
Can't find a. There's no benches.
I'm not going to a country like that.
Okay, I know where you can stick it, Marty. On a Japanese person, anywhere on their face. You can even make it obvious, and you won't get in trouble, Marty, because Japanese people are the most unconfrontational people in the fucking world, Marty.
Really?
Like, you can do anything. I could walk up to a police officer, spit and punch him in the face, and he would apologize to me. That's how non-confrontational they are, Marty. Okay. They are just insanely nice, just beyond nice. They're so nice they make you feel like a piece of shit, Marty. It's too nice. They're kids, right? We talk about Arrested Development and Buster going to the Milford Academy. Kids can not be, seen or heard. That's every single Japanese kid. I don't know what kind of childhood they have. I'm not sure if they're happy. But the kids, like, never muck around. Like, you never see a kid, like, their mum telling off a kid and smacking them or something. You see that in Australia, like, every single time you go out. You see, like, a mum just hating their life. Japanese kids, they're like adults. My kids were running rampant, and I was like, man, be like the Japanese more. Look at them. Anyway, I went to a couple of arcades in Japan, Marty.
Yes.
Like 90% claw machines. Just that's all they care about. It's mostly claw machines. There's a back section. Remember, I don't know, before people had phones, how girls could go and take pictures in those photo booths?
Yes.
And put like parts and stuff?
Yep.
That's still really big in Japan, and I have no idea why. And there's a really big arcade I went to. There was like 6 of these machines, and they needed 6 because like there was just like 50 Japanese schoolgirls outside doing makeup before they get in, right? Then they get in and they do their little like "Hey Chizu" pictures, right? And then it like photoshops their face to be even like more makeup, and they put love hearts on there. And then what happens is they get out. And they take a picture of these small, tiny, like, they haven't improved. These aren't like big A4 pieces of paper it prints out. They're like tiny, tiny little, like, as big as a 5-cent piece pictures. And then they take a picture of it with their mobile phone and post it on Instagram. It's like...
Don't you have an app on your phone that does that?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, why are you fucking wasting your time? You could do this at home with Snapchat or like any of the other programs. What are you doing? It doesn't make sense, Marty. All right. This will make you want to go to Japan, Marty.
Yep.
Toilets there.
Right.
Pretty advanced.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
What happened? You sit in there.
No, I love a toilet, right? So already I'm back in the room. Oh, okay, if you're talking toilets, shit, I'm going to go to this country that's got great toilets. Why are you talking to me about Japanese toilets?
Well, they've got lots of buttons, Marty, and
Sing to
say
you.
say.
They sing to you. Don't they make like a little chime or a little melody or something?
Well, they've got a button that says front or rear.
Sure.
So you press the rear, and it'll spray really nice hot water on where the poop came out of, Marty.
Oh,
Your ring hole,
this
right?
story. Right, this story. Yep. Mhm.
And if you press front, I think that's for your vagina. I don't have a vagina, so it just sprays water on your balls. Which doesn't feel as good as that on your ass, but you know what the weird thing is, Marty? There's you think that it would clean your bum. It doesn't.
Why are we talking about this?
It doesn't clean your bum. It just makes your poo all. Anyway, there's a button after that.
Oh,
There's a button after that
want
that
to know
says.
about the third button?
There's a button after that that's called dryer. So so it wets your bum. It wants to dry your bum. But you know what it does? It
Oh,
makes the entire room smell like hot poo. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. It's like, man, this is what it smells like if you microwave your shit or something. It's just horrible.
oh. So for those people that have been listening for a year to this podcast, you've got the gold right there. That's the fucking gold standard. Talking about warm shit smells.
Japanese fatty foods suck, Marty.
Oh my god.
Dr. John, Marty. Do you know Dr. John?
No, I don't know Dr. John. I know Emily.
I happened to walk into Tokyo Disneyland's Hilton Resort, and who was there? Just sitting on the couches there. Dr. John and his wife and his family. So they just happened to go to Japan at the same time as me. Happened to be at the same hotel at the same time as me. So he actually saved my trip. So a big shout out to Dr. John, because one of my kids got sick, and my wife was freaking out about the medicine that the Japanese doctor gave her, and she thought it was going to cause my kid to have this fit and die and all this kind of stuff. And Dr. John calmed her down. So thank you, Dr. John. Japanese people, Marty, they are the most introverted introverts you could ever think of. Mm-hmm. They won't talk to you unless you talk to them. They won't look at you. They won't touch you. Like nothing. If you want to be an introvert and you get anxiety when people talk to you in an elevator and stuff, go to Japan. No one talks to anyone there, Marty. No one touches you. A Japanese lady touched my hand by accident, and I was like, oh shit, is that what it feels like for a Japanese person to touch you? It took me a week to make physical contact with a Japanese person, Marty. Does that make you want to go less or more?
No, it just doesn't. You just ruined the whole thing for me.
What else?
Nah, I was never going to go back. I'm still too obsessed with America. I'm going to go back to America every year. Whilst there's pinball tournaments, I'm there.
There's Japanese. There's a Civil War museum. You can go there and hang with them. It's an amazing country, Marty. It's so different than anything. You go to America, you're pretty much going to an upgraded version of Australia, right? Sure. Australia's trying to catch up all the time to America. That's all you're going to. You're going to the future.
Thank you. Sold it. Thank you.
You go to Japan, Marty, you get an out-of-world experience. You can reflect on your life, Marty, and everything just, you will go to Japan, Marty. You will go.
I will at some stage, but...
It's only 9 hours away, Marty.
Sure.
America's like was it 14, 15? And that's just... and then
once
go
I'm
somewhere
done
else.
with this pinball thing, maybe.
All right. Anyway, that's Japan.
There you go. Wow. Shall we talk about the competition?
Sure. How'd you go? How many entries did you get, Marty?
We actually got a lot of entries. I think we've got just over 40 entries.
Okay.
And probably just over half got it right.
Okay.
So let me go through what the differences were. So for those people that are listening for the first time, sorry, you missed a really awesome competition. So there was an image of Ryan and myself next to each other, and then there was a number of things that were changed in the second image. I'd hate to tell it for people that there was 9 changes. So if anyone said that there was 7 or 8, or someone said that there was 3, no, there was actually 9. So the changes were, let's go clockwise, top right. So there is a there's a hexagon pattern on one of the vents. The glasses on me have changed their lenses to blue. That was a bit of an obvious one. The Supreme sticker on my jacket has been changed to saying Super LE.
Nice.
There's also a little red-headed kid, also known as Pinside Petey.
Bonus points to everyone that said Pinside Petey instead of Little Redhead Kid.
Yep, correct. There's also a cross through the hexagon. So instead of saying I love or I hexagon Chris Franchi, your shirt now says I don't hexagon Chris Franchi. So that was a bit special. Ryan has also now got a moustache and beard.
Mm-hmm.
And there's now a Twippy trophy in the chandelier.
Bonus points to people that said Twippy instead of an award or an angel.
Or an angel. And they were the easy ones. Then there was two harder ones that a lot of people didn't get. And one was that Ryan's thumb is missing on his left hand.
Mm.
And the other is a cord to the background, just to the left of Ryan, that's also disappeared. And that's the power of my superior Photoshop work that people didn't get those. That's how good it was.
Okay.
So, a lot of people got it right. 24 people, in fact, got it right. Ryan? So we've now got to give away 3 T-shirts. And so what we're going to do is we are going to do our good friend Google random number up to 24. Let's go, Ryan, and then I'll tell you the name of who's won. Whilst you're doing that, I'll tell you Danielson, Eric, Melbourne Minty, Jacob, David, JD, Lewis, Jared, Dijon, Rob, Mick, Ben, Todd, John, Joseph, Colin, Crystal, Michael, James, Nimmer, Anthony, Jason, Riff Bear, and Andrew Clark. You all got it right. Well done.
Is that the order, Marty?
Yep.
Please generate a number from 0 to 24.
All right. 21.
21, Anthony Whitby. Well done,
Oh my
Anthony.
gosh. He lives so far away. He lives in Box Hill.
The postage is going to be through the roof. In fact, I work with somebody that runs with him, so...
Someone from that doesn't live 5 minutes away from us has to win, Marty.
Yep, okay.
Otherwise, people are going to start asking questions.
Let's pick another number.
Please generate a number from 0 to 24.
Okay. 9.
That is Dijon. So I don't know where Dijon is, but I would say he's not in Australia. So there you go.
We'll find out where he lives.
We'll find out where he lives, and then we'll know.
Please generate a number from 0 to 24.
All right. 16.
16. Colin
Who is it?
MacAlpine.
Oh my god. Double t-shirts for Colin. That'll surely give us... I didn't see his entry. Surely that'll give us the spreadsheet, Marty. Double...
Colin MacAlpine, you now need to hand that bloody spreadsheet over, man.
I've known about that spreadsheet for a while, and I actually think about it.
Do you, dream about it?
I don't dream about it. Every time I'm setting up to a pinball machine, I'm like, fuck, I really could use that spreadsheet, because, if I was to try and create my own one, it would take hundreds and hundreds of hours. How much money do I have to give to Colin MacAlpine to get access
just
to
a
that?
t-shirt. And we didn't even have to rig this. So, there you go. So, well done, Anthony, Colin, and Dijon. I'm probably saying your name wrong, Dijon, but,
How do you spell it, Marty?
Degan. So there you go.
All right, Marty. Are we done?
We got a really nice lot of messages from people sending their entries through. Just a couple I wanted to note as well. So actually, it was Dijon who actually wrote as well and said, hey, first of all, you guys rock. Thank you. I was planning to send this email for months, but I always find an excuse. However, not anymore. I'm listening to both of you since the first episode. I'm definitely having fun. Most of the time I work from home, so it's a great way to laugh and work at the same time. Also, when I go overseas, I save some episodes for the flight, and it works perfectly. Even if there's some crazy turbulence, I keep laughing like there's no tomorrow. So there you go, Dijon. Not only did you write to us, you also won.
Nice.
And the other thing, we just wanted to say a special mention to Jeff Rivera for his entrant. Didn't get any of them right. So there's that. Also, we did get a message. We got an entrance from, I think it's a 7-year-old maybe. And they sent a special note to us. So this is from Lewis. And maybe we can post this because it's just hilarious. This is a handwritten note from this 7-year-old saying, Ryan has funny eyebrows and a weird pose. Martin looks smart and nice. See, that what you get from a 7-year-old is innocence, purity, and the truth. Whereas from Melbourne Minty, he said the attractive but chubbier chap doing up his fly has got a little ginger fellow next to his hands. He also said Tubby looks somehow less like an accountant thanks to purple shades.
Who was that?
No, thank you, Melbourne Minty. You are
Tubby.
fucking awesome.
I haven't heard that word since primary school.
So,
Tubby Taylor.
I'm an attractive but chubbier chap.
Oh wait, did you say chubby or tubby?
Well, the first one was chubbier chap. The second comment he said was Tubby looks somehow
Tubby.
less like an accountant.
Tubby
thanks
is
to
way
purple
better than
shades.
tubby.
I know.
Okay.
I think that's hilarious. So the point is, everybody will look chubby next to you. You are buff.
Dude, shut the fuck up. I gained like 4 kilos in Japan. I'm just like eating absolute trash. And I was so close, like a fingertip away from ordering a Nutella pizza right before we started recording.
Okay.
Because I'm just, after a week in Japan, I'm just craving fatty foods because it's just, their food is so unsatisfying.
I'm not sold on Japan. I'm just telling you.
Okay. I'll send you some pictures of the wet Japanese girls.
All right. Surely we're done.
Should I sing you out, Marty?
Please sing me out. What are you going to sing me out with?
Well, I heard you on the Eclectic Gamers podcast, Marty.
Yes.
And I just heard you talk so passionately about video games. Like you like video games more than pinball, Marty. What's going on?
No. That is not true. I've always loved pinball more than video games, but pinball wasn't as accessible as video games.
Okay. And I went to Japan.
Yes.
So I'm trying to combine, so Japanese plus video games. I'm going to combine.
You are going to sing the theme from Space Channel 5. Surely
No,
that's what you're
I
going to
don't
do.
know what Space Channel 5 is.
Oh.
This is the game that was responsible for me. I played this in Japan as an exchange student, right, when I was like 15 years old or something. And my exchange family bought it for me as a present on the way back. Of course, I had no way of playing it on my PS1 when I got home because it was region locked. But I got that sorted out, and this is the song, Marty. Here we go. Kick. Punch, it's all in the mind. If you want to test me, oh, come on already.
Oh my god! Do you know what? As soon as I said Space Channel 5, I went, no, I should have said Parappa the Rapper. One of my favourite games. Keep going.
Kick, punch, it's all in the mind. If you want to test me, I'm sure you'll find the things a teacher is sure to beat ya. Nevertheless, I'll get a lesson from the teacher now. Kick, punch, chop, block. One more time now. Don't get cocky, it's gonna get rocky. Oh man, I love that game. I sucked at it.
Oh my god. One of the best games ever. Love it. Parappa the Rapper.
Anyway,
so,
that's it.
Space Channel 5, which I talked about, is a spiritual successor to Parappa the Rapper. It's a rhythm action game.
So, okay. Does it have cool songs where you learn how to drive and learn how to cook?
No.
Knead the dough and
you
left,
learn
right,
how
right?
to dance, and your dancing destroys aliens. Yep. So...
you played so many Japanese games. You got to go to Japan to just be around people.
I know, and that was
They won't
the
touch you,
appeal.
buddy. They won't touch you.
Sure, that's why I'm going.
Okay.
All right, thank you, everybody. We will do this all again next week.
See you later, guys.
Maybe less of the talking about water and hot air spraying up your bum.
Okay.
We might have less of that next week, guys.
Yeah.
Kick, punch, Put your soul in the mind. If you wanna test me, I'm sure you'll find the things I'll teach ya, sure to beat ya. Nevertheless, you'll get a lesson from teacher. Now kick,
Kick,
punch,
punch,
chop,
chop,
block.
block,
Once more now, kick,
kick,
punch,
punch,
chop,
chop,
and block.
block.
Don't get cocky, it's gonna get rocky. We're gonna move down to the next jockey. Now duck,